Okay, so I'm going to go over today my new and refined how to lose your next 10 to 20 pounds, but more importantly, how to improve your nutrition. I'll show you everything that you need to know about training so you can optimize things going into next week. And I guarantee that you will go into next week and you will be like, I'll be able to take at least 3 things like value, whether it's like what meals to have, how to train, how to tweak your nutrition, some mindset hacks. You will 100% get loads of value. And I've tried to make every effort to make everything as visual and as engaging as humanly possible. All right. Okie doke. So let's see where we are. Yeah, the goal is, let's show you how to fix and optimize your nutrition in a really simple and easy, sustainable way. I'll go through all of the training, and then I'll go through, like I said, the mindset, because you need the mindset is what ties everything together, right? I can give you the absolute best training plan, the absolute best nutrition plan, but you're not going to follow it if you don't know how to overcome obstacles and how to have that mental strength, so to speak, right? Quick 2 things just to show you before I get into it is ebook 3. If you want loads of simple and easy recipes, you should definitely grab my ebook because I have loads of yummy recipes and they've got all the videos, macros, everything is attached. So if you've got all 3, everyone in the comments telling me it's fab. Good. If anyone's got it, let me know how you're finding them so far. Magical. If you use that link below, I'll put it at the end of the call as well, or if anyone's watching on replay, down below in the description. But just hit early 50 in the checkout and you'll actually get 50% off. You should absolutely get it. I promise you, I make my stuff really cheap, much cheaper than everyone else's, okay? So that no one can sit there and use it as an objection. And if you're with me in the new app, you should definitely check this out as well. This is like a massive game changer. This has got like all of my ebooks. It's got, oh my god, so much. Every week we're adding new things in there. I will show you everything in the app, like I said, at the end, because everyone is just going, show me the app. I will show you that. But if you want to check it out, you can just click this QR code over here or go into the description below and you will find it there. So that's all things recipes, app. You'll love both of them, I'm absolutely sure. And that's pretty much all things apps and whatnot. So a little bit about me. I'm sure Oscar, we all know Oscar comes part of the package, but I essentially will make nutrition very simple and easy, right? I'm more of a less is more kind of approach, where like if you focus on doing the basics well, that will give you 90% of the results that you are looking for. I'm very much like no fluff. If you want to ask me any questions at the end, I strongly recommend that you do. And if you want an honest answer, I will always be as honest as I possibly can. So I don't sort of cover anything up, and I don't believe in like gimmicks or anything like that. So it's all very honest in what comes out of my mouth. I've coached how many? Probably like tens of thousands by now. So I've done PT, I've done boot camps, I've done everything for the last 15 years. So my goal is to, like I said, help you look and feel your best. When you see my videos, when you see my information, is for you to always get a snippet of value, where you always walk away going, oh, I didn't really think about that. Oh, that's a pretty cool recipe. So that's really my goal there. Top left is my mum. Reason I always mention her in my masterclasses is that if my mum can do strength training at 69 years old, then you all can as well. And she's got a dodgy shoulder because Oscar pulled her off the lead 2 years ago and sort of put her to the floor. But she puts up with me on a Monday for training. And then after that, she kind of like watches all my workout videos and does them there. So she is number 1 client. But I used to actually run a boot camp in London for over a decade. If anyone knows where Fulham is in London, that's basically where I was, and ran that for a year. It was ladies only. That's just kind of like how it was. And then afterwards we got guys in as well, but I loved every minute of that. I lived with Oscar, And essentially, I'm a very outdoorsy person, as you can probably tell. I like cycling, I like mountains, I don't really like to stay still. So that's a little bit about me. And now we'll get into the important stuff in the masterclass. So when it comes to fat loss, nutrition in particular, when you think back to when we were all in our 20s in particular, because most people in here are going to be like 30s, 40s, 50s plus, right? That's kind of my demographic. It's always like sort of 40 to 70. You were able to skip meals and the weight would come off, right? You wouldn't have to stress, you wouldn't have to overthink anything, and everything was always in complete control. You didn't need to track your calories, look at menus and all of that kind of stuff, right? And results were often fast, right? You'd be like, hey, I've got to get ready for this holiday in Ibiza. I've got to do this particular thing. Like I said, it was always something that came very quickly when you were younger, right? But now, right, with the people that I speak to, right, they are doing everything right. They're following particular plans that they see online, and they're struggling to get results, right? They follow the advice, they get frustrated because they don't see any progress, and it's that feeling of, oh, nothing works anymore. What I used to do works, but now it really doesn't. And essentially, after that age of 40 in particular, there is a bit of a magic number with the 40, right? It's that things genuinely do change. You have hormonal shifts, right? Particularly with females, right? You've got the pre, peri, and menopause, and these are challenges that I deal with every single day in my coaching. And then you've got the lifestyle changes that come with it. So most people are more sedentary. And then the big one is muscle loss. You should see what I'm going to show you. Hopefully this really is going to send the point home when I'm about to show you something in a minute, right? So those are the three most important things that we want to address. And it's also worth mentioning the cost of getting it wrong is if you don't actually sort out your habits, your nutrition, your training, and you're not doing the things that you're supposed to, you end up in endless cycles where you waste time and money. Ultimately, you lose confidence in the thing that you are trying to do. And ultimately, you get health complications. And the best way, okay, to fix health complications, if you can call them that, is, what's the term? Prevention is the best cure, right? What you do now is setting you up for the future, for next week, next decade, right? That's what you want to think about it, right? And a lot of the problems, or should I say, a lot of the challenges that come on like later in life come because people neglect things earlier in life. So like you do no workouts, you never look after your health, all of that kind of stuff, right? So really important to address that. And ultimately, another cost is missing out on life, right? You don't want to be that person who's like, oh, I can't go on that hike, or I don't have the energy to spend with my grandkids or my son or my daughter or whatever, right? So you want to be in as good a physical shape as you can. So 5 really important steps we'll go through: metabolism, nutrition, workouts, mindset, and then how to tie everything together. All right. Now, the big one, when it comes down to metabolism, right, there are essentially 3 very big changes that happen in your body, okay, primarily after 40, right? If you're in your 30s and you're listening to this and you're a guy or a girl, it doesn't really matter, right? This applies to everyone. Muscle loss is a really big one, okay? 2, lifestyle shifts. We all become more sedentary, whether you like it or not, right? It's nearly always the case for everyone. People do less steps. They are less efficient with when they move. They're just generally less active, right? And I'll show you in numbers how that actually looks like with some real-time examples. And you do have those hormone shifts as well, which genuinely make things more of a challenge. Now, muscle, very important to what I'm about to show you, okay? You will lose 3 to 8% of your muscle every single decade if you do nothing, right? But we're not going to do that after this call, right? We're going to take action. So what that means, that fancy word of sarcopenia, is basically muscle loss, okay? And you can absolutely maintain, but nearly everyone that I work with and that I know and that I come across can build muscle, whether you are in your 40s, 50s, or 60s, because most people are coming from a place where they're probably not doing workouts at all. They're not doing them as well as they should, okay? And your bone density decreases after the age of 30. Sounds really depressing, but you kind of build bone density, and then at the age of 30, you either flatline it until the last day on earth, or it just steadily declines if you do no strength training, right? And by the age of 60, just to put this into context, if you do nothing, okay, and you do no workouts, you pay no attention to that strength stuff, not really important, building muscle, right? You can have 30% less muscle, which not only will help, but would mean that you burn like 200 calories fewer every single day, but your quality of life is worth, you are less capable, and all of the other benefits that typically come with strength training, you're not getting. Now, just to show you this one, this is a new slide that I did today, right? This is someone who is in their 30s and they strength train. That's like what someone's muscle might look like, right? And this is someone who is in their 30s, right, who doesn't do any strength training. So you can see it works exactly the same way as literally a piece of meat would be. You'd have, you want to be as much as you can like the picture on the left where you are lean, right? And you have like some fat tissue when you are in your 30s, right? If you're not doing any strength training. However, right, when you get into your 70s, this is what someone looks like on the left who trains and does strength training, right? And this is what someone on the right-hand side who is in their 70s who does no strength training, right? The person on the right, if you took a cross-section of their leg, would look like that. It has loads of fat and adipose tissue around their bones, and what would normally have, like, you know, hopefully muscle in your leg is then replaced with fat, right? So it's literally like that. So like I said, you want to be that person on the left, and what that looks like I said, over time, is that if you're someone who's relatively lean, or you're like in your 20s, 30s, and you play sports, and you know you have a decent amount of muscle, if you do nothing over time, this is what it looks like, okay, over decades and over years, that you don't realize, and it just creeps up on you, okay? And like I said, and that's where you just get all of the stored fat. And like I said, the person on the left, right, you can absolutely, just to go back one, you can absolutely be someone in their 30s who trains like this, right? And you can absolutely be 50s, 60s, even 70s, and have a really lean, you know, muscle mass, and you can absolutely look like this. You can absolutely even go from the right-hand side to the left-hand side, and I'll show you how you can do that, like I said, a bit later. So that's pretty much, hopefully, a striking visual that is really, you know, nails that point home. When it comes to the other side, when it comes to metabolism, right, you've got the lifestyle. So when people get older, they just are more desk bound, they are driving everywhere, they need to sit down more, and they just generally move around less, right? It just is the reality of life, right? Especially when you've got a sedentary job and you've got you know, in these days, everyone's just basically sitting on their bed on their phones, right? And the calorie difference with this implication, right, is again about another 200 to 400 calories very easily, okay? And that is basically the difference, like, every single day. So you can see when you compound muscle and you compound being sedentary, it really does like stack up. And most people are not getting in enough protein, which actually helps the other two in terms of like building and retaining more muscle. So 80% won't get enough. The most common amount of protein that I hear when I start to work with new clients, they'll be like, oh, I'm stuck on like 60, 80, 90, 75. I don't know how to get more in. So it's very, very common. And they also don't track the quantities of food, whether it's calories, whether it's protein, and whether it's fiber, right? But in particular with protein, no one ever tracks it. People will go, oh, I have one egg in the morning. It's actually technically not enough, right? And just to give you a real world example of what this might look like for someone who is, if there are any Sarahs here, not picking on you, but Sarah at 25, she has a BMR of 1450 calories, which is just a fancy way of saying basal metabolic rate. Of that's how many calories you burn doing absolutely nothing, right? And then say you do 10,000 steps and you have a more lean mass because you are younger, you burn 2,200 calories, right? By the age of 50, you only lose a little bit of your metabolic rate, only very slightly, which mostly comes from actually like lean tissue, which is actually the muscle mass. So that is what ties into that number. But you also do less steps, and you can actually end up with like a calorie discrepancy of somewhere between like 400 to 700 with a lot of people, right? And like I said, when you have fewer calories from BMR, you burn less calories from having less muscle, and you do less steps. It really does add up. The devil is always in the details. I can't stress that enough. All right. And this is what it looks like when you are someone who is when Kat came to me before she started, she was, I think, like, I work with a range of people, right? But she came to me, she was, I think, like sort of 250, 225 pounds, something like that. And which is about 110 kilos or so. And she basically ended up getting to like 70 kilos over the course of like 12 to 18 months, right? But essentially she was stuck in endless yo-yo cycles, avoided everything that she didn't want to do, like didn't want to do the workouts, don't want to track my food and stuff. But once she actually put these principles in place that we're going to talk about, she was able to double her energy, slim her waistline massively, and just be a completely different human. That's only on the left-hand side what 90 days looks like of training. And she did it mostly with like nutrition only. So that's just an example there. Now, main pillar number 2, nutrition. This is the big one that everyone wants to cover, right? So I've got a lot of new slides here, so I'm going to try my best to give you a ton of value here. Most people will firstly get really confused with the diets that they see online, right? Carnivore, low carb. They hear buzzwords like insulin, low fat, all of these sorts of things, when usually the answer is nearly always in the middle. And if you go to extremes, you realize that all of these types of diets and these methods of eating, they all do one thing. They restrict your calories. Therefore, you lose fat. Therefore, you lose weight. Okay. And things that I don't like people to do, okay, is 1, follow a diet. Okay. Usually if it has a name, it is attached with something extreme. Like I said, you see people online just eating steaks and 15 eggs a day and all that kind of stuff. You absolutely don't need to do that. Please don't think you need to do that. You should not really be having less than 1,000 calories ever, only in specific circumstances and for very niche people who are usually very lean and very small and very short, usually females, because they just need a little bit more calories to get to their to reach their goals. Most people should be definitely eating more than 1,000. If you tell me that you are eating less than 1,000, you're not seeing progress, if you apply what I tell you to do today, you will realize you're probably not even eating less than 1,000 anyway. Okay, you don't need to restrict foods that you enjoy, and you certainly don't need to say no to social events. I go out with my friends and my family and I have normal food. I'm just really good 80%, 90% of the time throughout the week when I have the most control. Okay, and within nutrition, you've got 4 really important pillars. Okay, you have calorie control, okay, protein, fiber, and you need something that is flexible and is a flexible structure to actually tie everything together, okay, because you can't just be like completely optimal 100% of the time. A quick one on food labels. They can be very confusing to read sometimes, but honestly, what I would just focus on is my big pillars when it comes to nutrition is, are you getting in the correct amount of calories? And within those calories, can we make them work in our favor and getting in enough protein and enough fiber? Yes, carbs and fats matter, but when you see things like of which sugars, when you see like of which saturates and all that kind of stuff, and they can get very confusing. Most of the time, if you actually get your fiber and you get your protein in, right, you kind of like cover your bases, right? And as long as you're having mostly whole foods, you're good. So like I said, don't overcomplicate things. And sometimes people will see very specific ingredients and they look at things as very binary. So they will see like sugar in ketchup and they're like, nope, not having that. No, I've got a perfectly healthy steak, vegetables, and I don't want to ruin my plate, right? But it doesn't work like that. Nothing works in isolation. Everything is part of the meal as a whole. So if you have a couple of squares of chocolate after dessert and you've got loads of fiber in and you had a really wholesome meal and it fits within your calories, absolutely fine. It's not going to do anything to you, right? So that's essentially just a little bit about like the food label side. And like I said earlier, all diets do the same thing. I promise you, they all reduce calories. However they frame it, by taking out pasta, by taking out a particular food group, whatever that is, you will realize that like I said, they're taking you from having your 2,000 calories down to 1,500 calories or 1,400 calories, and then they'll tell you that it's insulin doing the work, or that it's a particular hormone that is now being like ramped up and all this kind of stuff. It doesn't quite work like that. And just remember, calories are made up of protein, carbs, and fats. So protein and carbs are 4 calories per gram, and fats are 9 calories per gram, which is why you see me talk about fats on my videos before. When you get like a little pot of olive oil, it's just so many calories packed into such a small volume. It doesn't mean that these foods are bad. I have them every single day. You just need to be careful and mindful of them. Once you do that, a lot of the time the flip switches in your mind and you're like, oh my god, is that where all the calories are coming from? Sometimes it's just small swaps, right? And the goal, I stress, is not to like track your calories until the end of your days and get super obsessive over it, right? The goal is to actually, if you don't track frequently or you haven't tracked before, is to just make yourself aware of like, okay, cool, what foods are giving me protein, fiber, which ones are lower calorie, which, what is in the average potato, what is in an average pear and apple. And once you do that a few times, you will be able to use that knowledge and arm yourself and actually take that moving forward. So like I said, really, really important there, because like I said, you have to make it something that fits in with your lifestyle, right? And just remember, a calorie is a calorie, right? Whether it comes from a Mars bar or whether it comes from a blueberry, okay? The but is that not all foods are packaged the same and they don't make you feel the same, right? So for example, on the right hand side, the calories are the same on these 2 plates, but the sugar content is higher in the blueberries. But no one would sit here and be like, oh, blueberries are really bad. That's because they are bound up in fiber, nutrients, water, food volume. You're not going to overeat those things, right? So they have many other benefits. And when you combine like sugar and fiber, it's a completely different thing. The Mars bar on the left, you're going to eat one, you're probably still going to be hungry. Like 5 minutes later, you'll be back in the cupboard, rummaging the drawers, right? So that's essentially the difference that is happening there. When you do track your foods, what counts? I always say this, the devil is in the details. So it's sauces, oils, condiments, vegetables and fruits are very, I personally would track them. You should absolutely have as much of them as you can. However, technically all of your fruit and veg are probably making up 20% of all of the foods that you eat in a day. If you think about like sweet potatoes, if you think about, you throw in a bell pepper, loads of cherry tomatoes, chopped tomatoes, all of this kind of stuff. They all have calories. They're absolutely good for you, but you just need to be aware that, okay, actually that does include and count towards my totals, right? And the same thing with fruits, okay? And some of the examples here, just to that might seem a little bit extreme, but I bet some of you here can relate to this. 5 dates. 5 dates is about 300 calories. That sounds really depressing, but wouldn't you rather know that, so that next time you go, okay, maybe that particular food or fruit that I had probably has more calories than I realize. And sometimes your supplements have more calories than you realize as well. Happens more than you might think. So stuff like fish oils, collagen tablets, lots of these different things. Just check the back of the packet. Sometimes they do have like 30, 40, even 80, 100 calories I've seen. Okay, so just be aware and just check those out, right? And all healthy food, right, counts. Avocados, salmon, olive oil. You should eat them. You should also track them, all right? And just a quick one on how to find your numbers, okay? Just to go back one step, if you want to find out how many calories you need to either maintain your weight or to lose your weight, you can, of course, use my app. It does it all for you. Or they're in my calorie calculators are in my ebooks. But the point is, it's your BMR. It's your BMR, which is the amount of calories it costs you to do absolutely nothing. Thermic effective food. So when you take your food in, it costs you like 10, 15% just to digest the food down. The amount of steps that you do in a day and the workouts that you do. I'm going to give you a really nifty, even this, you'll probably be like, oh, I didn't really know that, right? And then your workouts that you do in a day. So your BMR for this person is going to be 1270. How do you get your BMR number? You can go online and just get the number from there. Again, technically it's in my app and in my ebooks. The thermic effective food is mostly going to be about like 130. Your BMR different for everyone. Most women, really, really short, broad stroke of the brush here. Most women, 1200 to 1700 for BMR. Most guys, 1400 to 2100 on the BMR. Okay, it varies, but the heavier you are, the more your BMR will be. So just bear that in mind. All right, steps. Here's a really good calculation. I'll put this in the follow-up. If you want to find out how many calories you burn from your steps for every 10,000 steps that you do, if you're in kilos, you multiply it by 5.6. If you're in pounds, you multiply it by 2.7. Pretty nifty. If you do that, you'll be able to get a really good estimation of how many calories you burn from your steps for every 10,000 steps. And then you add your workout. So basically, once you add these four together, you get a number. That is the number that it costs you to basically maintain your weight. And then you have a target calories, which is essentially, for me, it's usually about 20 to 25% below your maintenance. It doesn't have to be any more complicated than that. If you hit this calorie number, you will start losing body fat. Cool. Protein, very important. The sources that you're looking for are chicken, eggs, fish, lean yogurts, lean beef, okay? The amount of protein that you need for each person is going to be about 1 gram or just shy of 1 gram per pound of target body weight. So let's say you are aiming to be 140 pounds as an example, right? Just shy of that will be like 120, 110, up to about 140, okay? That's how many grams of protein you want to eat. That is the really easy way to do it. In kilos, I think it is take your target body weight, multiply it by 1.6, and that's your number. Easy peasy. And again, I like people to come away from this with nice, easy clarities. Hopefully those numbers are pretty simple to work around. But for most women, somewhere between 100 to 150, fantastic. Most guys, 130 to 180, fantastic. Doesn't have to be any more than that. And it's not binary. It's not 90 is bad, 100 is good. It's a sliding scale, okay? If you are someone who's like, oh, I get to 90 or I get to 95, or you have a particular day where you were off target, it's absolutely fine, right? It's within the context of a whole week. But increase your protein. It will massively help you with your hunger. It will help you build and retain muscle, all of that good stuff. So make sure that you get it in. And a good guideline is per meal, try to get in a source of protein that has 30 grams of protein and start with that on your plate. Build around it and actually go into it by going, okay, cool, I'm going to start with some beef. I'm going to start with a tin of tuna. I'm going to start with my Greek yogurt, right? Rather than starting the other way around, okay? And a nice little hack or a tip, right? If you ever track your food, right? Put the food in before you eat it. Makes it much easier. So when you sit there and you're like, okay, I'm going to make dinner or I'm going to meal prep, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, put the food in that you want to eat. Okay, you are much more likely to actually stick to it. And two, you have a visual reference. You open up your phone, you open up like my app, for example, it goes, cool, it's all laid out for you. All good. That's basically the best way to do it. And this is another reason why protein is important. Yes, we need it for hunger. Yes, we need it for, well, it helps with hunger massively. The more you have, the less hungry you will be. We also need it to build and retain as much muscle. But the more protein that you have, okay, the more calories you burn for free doing nothing. Nothing. So if you are someone who's like, don't really track my protein, 50 grams of protein, and you go, all right, I'm going to take Adam's advice. I'm going to start to bump up my protein. You'll feel better. You'll get the other benefits, but you will burn an extra 100 calories, up to 100 calories, doing absolutely nothing every day. That's actually quite significant. So much so that would be 3,000 calories every single month, and you would technically lose an extra pound of fat if you changed nothing. That's just by doing that one tweak. Okay. Yeah, someone asked me a quick good question in the chat about like breastfeeding and stuff like that. Yes, it does change a little bit if you are breastfeeding because you need more. Essentially, that's a whole nother can to open, but most of the time it's about 300-400 calories more. You just bump the numbers up a little bit there. So, yeah, but the goal is, like I said, is just to get familiar with these foods and just get, build your habits. And it's as simple as, as this, right? most of us would look at this on the left and go, it's a healthy meal, right? But, right, you need 3 eggs to actually reach your protein target rather than just 1. So it's all about making swaps here and there, putting in egg whites, all of this kind of stuff. So it's eating with intention. You can't just have a source of protein, a source of fiber, a good food. It's the dose that creates the poison. By the poison, I mean the effect, right? So make sure that you are, like I said, tracking and eating with intention. Fiber, very, very important. When it comes to fiber, it's a thing that helps you keeps you full. Okay, it pairs and combines with protein, right? You basically need both of them, ideally for longevity, for strength, for looking and feeling your best. Very important. It'll help you with those afternoon energy crashes and cravings that you have. The more fiber you have, generally speaking, I try to, like I said, get people to have a take-home point. The more fiber you eat, the longer you live, the better you feel, the less cancer you are likely to have, the less this you are less likely to have. All-cause mortality goes down when fiber goes up, okay? Generally speaking, the more the better. We'll get into how much is how much you need in a moment, but essentially you also need it to actually help with your gut and have loads of healthy stuff going on in here, which you probably might have seen or read about. If you haven't, you need it for like your colon and all that kind of stuff. So very, very healthy for you. It's good for you. You will feel really good eating more fiber, right? And I'll show you lots of different ways to get it in. Headline figure: most people need to be getting in 20 to 30 grams daily. If you can get a bit more, fantastic. Don't put yourself under pressure. Someone said, are there any downsides if you consume more fiber than your daily intake? Short answer, no, but if you have any problems with fiber, you might want to like gradually increase the dose and just make sure that you're getting in enough water. Most of you lot in here, I promise you, only get in somewhere between 10 to 16 grams a day, and I'm being kind, okay? Even all my friends and people that I know, when they actually check it, they're like, oh my God, you're right. I thought I had like loads of fruit and stuff today. But when they actually check how much they had, not a lot, right? Easy wins. It's as simple as just adding fruit or veg to every meal. And I mean basic fruit and veg. Basics. You do not need to go like, oh, I'm going to go and get like wild papaya fruit and crazy supplements. Not needed, right? And just to go back one stage, another number for you to take home is for every 1,000 calories that you consume, aim to get about 15 grams of fiber in per day to go with that, right? So if you're on 1,500 calories, about 23 grams of protein, right? And that's quite a realistic number. It's actually quite a realistic number to achieve, right? Nutrition, sort of following on from this, like I said, this salad on the left, we'd all look at that and go, it's healthy. I just had this for dinner, by the way, like an hour ago. There's nothing wrong with it. But if you just have tomatoes, lettuce, and a few little sprinkles of onion, not going to cut it, right? It's probably about 1 gram of fiber in there, right? That is just how it is. But if you eat with intentions, okay, and you go, okay, I'm going to have foods that are higher in fiber. 1 tablespoon of chia seeds has like 5 times more fiber than this, right? 1 serving of broccoli, 3 to 4 times more fiber than this. And raspberries is going to have about 6 times more fiber than this, right? So it's about eating with intention. And to give you some examples, fruits, it doesn't have to be any more complicated than have some raspberries, have some blackberries, have a pear, have some apple. It's not that complicated, right? And this is just the amount of fiber, like per 100 calories, to give you a good ratio. So just try, if you're like, I can't get to my fiber target, include more of these foods. Simple as that. Vegetables. Notice it's broccoli and it's carrots that are like near the top. Oh, that's in like the most basic vegetable that you could possibly think of, right? Get more of those in, right? Not limited to these top 3, but obviously, like, I'm just giving you some food for thought here. Carbohydrate sources, absolutely fine to have, by the way. You should eat them, right? It's completely normal, part of a balanced diet. Lentils, beans, legumes, chickpeas, quinoa, all of these sorts of things are going to help you boost your fiber, and you can combine with meals. Beans are really good if you get them in like the tins and the jars. Just dump them into meals, right? Amazing. Helps you keep you full, gives you all the goodness that you need. Really quick and easy fiber bump, and you can just a lot of the time take out some carbohydrates like pasta and replace them with more of the beans just to balance it out. It's as simple as that, right? And seeds, chia seeds, always the powerhouse, super versatile, but flaxseed, chia seeds, all really amazing sources of fiber and good for your gut. Just some everyday powerhouses that you can put into your meals, okay, that you can build around. Avocados, super healthy fats, super high fiber for a fat source. Amazing, right? That's where you see avocados there. Sweet potatoes have twice the amount of fiber compared to white potatoes. Are white potatoes bad? Absolutely not. You see me use them in my recipes. However, if you're trying to get more fiber in, twice the amount of fiber in these, right? Oats, very simple. You can add them to shakes. You can turn them into porridge. Really good. Combine them with yogurt, etc. And simple fruits, like I said, like apples, kiwis. Try to keep the skin on if you can, right? Foods that you don't realize have a lot of fiber, right? That you probably didn't think about, right? Dark chocolate, amazing. Get 70% plus. Really good snack, has fiber. Like kind of like a meaningful amount of fiber. That's why I use them in my recipe videos, right? Sun-dried tomatoes, artichokes, whether they are in oil or in water or whatever. Really amazing sources of fiber. You probably think, I didn't really think about that, right? Check the back of the packet. You'll probably figure that out the next time you go out. And these are things, again, you just scoop them out, dump them onto your plate. Bosh, that's it. Doesn't have to be more complicated than that. And snacks like popcorn, easy peasy, right? You include more of that in your diet. You're going to have just, again, like a yummy snack that gives you a little bit of best of both worlds, right? And just some quick swaps that you can do, because everyone always asks me this. White bread for brown bread. Swapping your orange juices, right? Orange juices for the whole fruit with the skin. By the way, blending and juicing are not the same thing. If you get your fruit into a blender and then you blend it up, you put some yogurt and turn it into a yummy smoothie, amazing. You get all of the fiber. If you juice it, you lose all of the fiber and it turns into a bit of a sugar drink with vitamins and minerals. So just something to think there. So essentially, try to eat food in its whole form, whether it's blended or you just eat the apple or eat the kiwi, right? Protein swaps that I was other swaps that I wanted to mention was obviously veg like fruit and veg like cucumber, tomatoes, lettuce. Swap them for more fiber dense vegetables like broccoli, carrots, Brussels sprouts, etc. Swapping protein sources is actually an interesting one, right? Because you can swap like eggs and beef for things like lentils, legumes, and beans. You don't lose pretty much any protein, but you get the fiber benefit. I'm not telling you to just like ditch out the protein source, because you have to have a balance, right? But let's say in the morning, you take out 2 whole eggs or 1 whole egg and you put in a whole spoonful of like beans. You basically get to your fiber target like for that meal really easily with one simple swap. It's honestly like that simple and easy, right? And some meals that really work really well for me are like Greek yogurts. They are for me my go-to. If I've got no time, you can't tell me that you don't have probably yogurt or Greek yogurt in your fridge, and you can just slam in a tablespoon of chia seeds, bananas, blueberries, whatever you like. Easy. You can put protein in powders in there to bump it up even more. Works amazing. It is honestly as simple as that, right? So that's pretty much all things yogurt bowls. Sometimes people forget that simple meals like a sandwich, right? You look on the left and you're like, well, where's the fiber, Adam? Do you know what I do? I have like something like this, which is about 450 calories, 400 calories, right? And like tuna, cheese melt, I don't know, chicken, avocado sandwich, whatever you want to make. And you know what I do to get my fiber? I don't sit there trying to cram spinach in there so I can't close the sandwich. Don't make your life hard, right? Just have a punnet of raspberries. Just have a pear. That's it. That's all you need to do, right? And you're like, oh, just balancing out the meal, right? And like I said, you don't have to do anything like crazy. Soups, amazing. They're my go-to. Definitely if you're in the UK, too hot. Probably Europe as well. Definitely too hot for soups at the minute. But you can blend. You can put stuff in that you don't even like. You know, when you grow up, you're like, oh, I don't like Brussels sprouts. I'm never eating Brussels sprouts again, right? My best friend, he has. Who knows? He might even be on the call. If he's on the call, then he'll just have to laugh. But he doesn't eat like, he's never even tried a strawberry. I'm not even joking. He is like the weirdest person when it comes to food, right? But with soups, with him, if I gave him a soup and I put in even like a bunch of random stuff like spinach, strawberries, and foods that he wouldn't eat, he wouldn't be able to taste it. You can just drown it out, and you can just make loads of yummy stuff like that. And you can make them really easy to make them vegan, veggie, and stuff like that. So soups are amazing. I love slow cooking stuff like chicken, beef, and lamb. I love that, just like set and forgetting. Dump this in the oven. Yes, some of these stuff like take like 3 or 4 hours, but you know what? It takes 0 effort. You literally, you see me put like plonk a bit of meat in the oven, marinate it, dump some stuff over it, leave it for 4 hours, and then I leave this in the fridge. Eat it in wraps, eat it in whatever. You've got a protein source ready to go, right? And I like making easy homemade protein bars and stuff as well. I have these in the freezer. Anyone who ever used to go to my boot camp would have tried these. I've been making these for like best part of 15 years plus. So just like I said, make it easy, right? And when you are managing your nutrition, I would definitely recommend an 80-20 approach. You're never striving to be perfect. You're striving to be consistent, right? It's really important that you realize that. And you should be able to go out to social events and still be on track in the grand scheme of things. I went out last night to like a Greek restaurant. Obviously I had like this yummy Greek feta salad that had like olive oil and all that kind of stuff over it, right? But you know, over time you learn how to sort of manage portion control, and you realize that one meal is not going to ruin your entire week, right? So if anyone wants to ask me about eating out and all that kind of stuff is like a bit later, you can. Someone's saying, you know, what is the 80-20 approach? Essentially, 80% of the time you are good, which is actually 5 days out of 7, right? Essentially, right? And 20% of the time, or 10% of the time, if you want to go 90-10, something like that, you can just eat foods that you enjoy. It's not going to kill you, right? Like I said, focus on the protein and the fiber. Everything falls into place after that. I can't stress that enough. Don't overcomplicate it with all the stuff you see online, right? You don't need to like make it really complex, right? If you're eating on the go, you know, aim for something that has like 400 calories and 30 grams of protein is like a good guideline. Look at the back of the packet, try to combine random stuff. You go into Pret, you get a couple of eggs, you get a sandwich, bomb, put those together, maybe 500 calories, 28 grams of protein, 35 grams of protein. Get as close as you can to those numbers. Works really well. And weekly calories, right? I can't stress this enough. Weekly calories are king, right? If you are in your targets for like maintenance deficit, whatever it is, and you go up one day and you spend the next day and you go back into like regular normal routine, you're going to be absolutely fine, right? It's the average of what you do which is most important. Signs of a good deficit. How do you know that once you've got your numbers, you're like, cool, done this protein, fiber, calories, I've worked out my numbers, I'm in the Noura App, or I'm doing all the stuff that I've got to do. How do I know if things are actually working well? Well, your energy in your workout should still be high. Your sleep should be good. The 2 key things, right? The 2 most important things is once you've got your numbers and you have a routine of eating, hunger should not be overwhelming. If you go, Adam, I am hungry every day. I'm hungry every single day. Okay, that should not be happening, right? You should have a nice balance of like, okay, you know, I'm hungry at times and I manage it by having eaten the right foods and all that kind of stuff, but shouldn't be overwhelming. And the key headline figure for you all, if your goal is fat loss, okay, try to aim to lose 0.5% to 1% of your body weight every week. Simple maths is if you're 200 pounds, aim to lose about 1 to 2 pounds every week. Very sustainable, works really well, right? If you're in kilos, work out the maths. Simple as that. If you do those 2 things, if you are losing that amount of weight per week and you feel good, your workouts are good, everything's hunky-dory, we move on. Great, fantastic. And this is what it looks like just by focusing on nutrition. Whoops. Anna, before she started, when she worked with me, she was kind of sick of stubborn belly fat. She's like, I want to go on a holiday. These things I want to do, I can't do them. I just don't really feel great, to be honest, right? Essentially, when she actually started implementing just the nutrition side of things, right, and tracking and getting in control of her food, right, the results become a lot more effortless once you increase your awareness, right? And she's able to get into her old clothes, go on holiday, and get into the swimwear that she wanted, swimwear and stuff that she wanted. So obviously different person. It doesn't just change how you look, but that changes how you feel, and that changes your confidence and how you perform in like everyday life, right? Fitness is something that transitions and it carries over into more than just like looking good and being toned and having muscle, right? Really, really important. Strength training. Now, what can I tell you to give you some take-home points? This is some of the clients that I used to train back in the old days. Had good fun in the summer. But like I said, you want to make sure that you are doing strength training in particular after the age of 40, especially. Muscle prevents a lot of helps you prevent a lot of diseases. There's so many other benefits to it, right? And like I said, it helps you protect against bone density, because after the age of 30, all you can do is basically not let your bone density go any lower. The only way you can really do that is to be strong, right? You don't want to be like a crisp packet when you're like 60, 70 and you get blown away by the wind, right? Oh, I'm so brittle, right? Don't want to be brittle. I train my mum to be like, I tell her, go do some steps, go walk. People can say, Mum, she's like, oh, should I go do some gardening? I know I sound like a really horrible person, right? But get the point, right? It's important. I always tell her to stay active. I don't want my mum to be like someone who's just sedentary, doing bugger all at home, right? Not good. And I also get her to come over and I get her to walk Oscar, right? Which is like a slide tactic, saves me time, and also gets her out of the house, and she loves him anyway. So anyway, move, be active, right? And you absolutely need it to look and feel your best, right? So you don't just want to lose fat, you want to build muscle, and you can absolutely do both at the same time. Super important to realize that. You get the double benefit, especially if you're someone who doesn't really do a lot of strength training or just want to get into it, or you want to make improvements. Guaranteed, most of you in here, nearly everyone, will be able to build muscle and lose fat at the same time. What a great benefit. And always a good headline for strength training. You burn more calories for free doing nothing, right? Me sitting in this chair now, because I do strength training, and I've probably got like on average 5 to 10 kilos more muscle that I've built up throughout the years. I get to burn more calories, right? Just by doing nothing. I know sounds like an easy way out, but a good way to think about it as well. You've got two cars. You've got a Polo and you've got a Lamborghini, right? The Polo has a smaller engine, right? If you've got a Volkswagen Polo, nothing against Volkswagen Polos. I've had one myself, love them. But they're pretty efficient cars, right? You take a Lamborghini, big engine, right? And you drive that at the same speed, both cars, the Lamborghini will use more fuel. Exactly the same principle, right? I'm not saying that if you have like, you build more muscle, you're all of a sudden going to like double your calorie burn, but it significantly improves, right? It's just one thing that I want you to think about, right? And I put this on screen again just to get your heads around the idea, right? Don't be the person on the right, right? You either want to be the person on the left who has that this person is going to be more capable. They are going to have better insulin sensitivity. They're going to be less brittle, right? They're going to be stronger, right? The person on the right is going to be like that person who just sits on the couch all day, does absolutely nothing. You either want to be this person on the left, or you can be the person on the right and change and transition to be the person on the left, right? So I want you to strive to think about that, right? Oh my God, look at all those fat running through my veins. That's literally, if you take cross-section through your leg, that's what it's going to look like. Barriers that I hear all of the time. I don't know what I'm doing, Adam. What do I do, right? And I'm too old, Adam. I should have started strength training in my 20s and 30s. I don't know how to do it, right? You absolutely can do it. It's not a excuse, right? Start easy. You can make things really simple and easy, right? It's kind of like nutrition. There's just a few fundamentals that you've got to focus on, right? And this is one. God, if I had a penny, right? I don't have time, right? You do have time. You don't know how to prioritize your time, right? That might mean doing something that you don't feel like doing, like getting up a little bit earlier. I don't know, spending less time on your phones, right? You know, one thing I say to some clients who say to me, I don't have time. I say, can you show me your screen time, please? I go, Instagram watch time all week, 7 hours 30 minutes. I'm like, you're telling me you've been watching either 7 hours 30s of my reels, right? Or, right, you're watching stuff that is probably, I don't know, like dogs chasing cats, right? Or random stuff on the internet, right? So you do have time, I promise you. You only need to find 2 30-minute sessions if you're not doing anything already. You can do it, right? I don't want to get bulky. Don't even want to hear this one. You couldn't do it if you tried, right? I train, I would say, very consistently and quite intensely. And even people don't come up to me and go, "Oh, you're bulky." They go, "Oh, you work out, right?" But most women, it's not an objection, right? You couldn't gain that muscle to look bulky if you tried. If by the time you said to me, "Adam, I'm bulky," right? Let's just say any client. I've never had a client come to me and say this, but if they did, what would happen is they'd be like, by the time they got there, they'd be like, "Oh my god, Adam, I'm burning more calories for free. My waistline's slimmer. Look at my bum. Look at my glutes in my jeans." So by the time you get there, you wouldn't even you won't even get there, right? So bulky is not an excuse. Some take home points for you, right? When you are doing exercises, try not to focus on the smaller exercises like arm curls, like sit-ups, like planks. Sure, do them. They should not be the cornerstone of what you do when it comes to training, right? Think of things like push-ups, lunges, squats, deadlifts, rows, right? Stuff that uses more weights and that uses more than 2 joints. So when you do like a bicep curl, like don't know if you can see me on camera, but something like this, you're just moving at the elbow, right? Do something with where you're like moving at your shoulder and moving at your elbow. So stuff like rows, push-ups, they burn more calories. You might as well do it, right? Because if you're going to spend 30 minutes doing this, not really going to do this much. This is where all the benefit is. All of the benefit is in the lunges, in the squats. Range of motion, couple of tips here. Don't worry, I've got you covered. People going, how many per week, how many sets? Don't worry, I've got you covered. I'm going to go through it in the next 2 minutes. Range of motion. In short, try to get the biggest range of motion that you can. Okay? You build more muscle, right? If you're going to do a squat, right, you might as well go down an extra 3 centimeters whilst you're down there, right? Like if you're doing the hard work of turning it on and doing the exercise, make sure that you're doing it properly to the best of your ability. We're never perfect, right? And we all have those sets where, oh my god, I'm tired, I'm knackered, right? But something like this on the right hand side, just to give you an illustration, squat should be like, parallel and whatever. I'm not going to go through each exercise, but you get the drift, right? And focus on the stretch. What does that mean? Whenever you do an exercise, some of you might have seen me mention this on my stories a couple of times, but focus on actually doing the bottom part of the movement. So like the bottom part of your pull-up, the bottom of the squat. The more of the time you can hang out there, the better. I'll try to sort of whiz through some of these. How many reps? In short, 6 to 20. It's a very wide range. But generally speaking, lower reps for bigger muscle groups, higher reps for isolation exercises, right? Don't do 4, 5, 6 reps on your bicep curls, right? Do 15 to 20. If you're doing squats, probably do something like 6 to 10 or 8 to 12, right? This is just some guidelines for you to follow, right? There's no right or wrong. Just make sure that you push yourself. You want to push yourself to the point where it starts to get hard. Really important. How often should you train? 2 to 3 times a week? No more than that. I promise you, you do not need to train more than 2 to 3 times a week to get the benefits that most of you in this room here are looking for today, okay? And that should look like, for everyone, nearly everyone, no matter how advanced you are or how beginner you are, either a full body workout or an upper body split, right? It's as simple as that. It doesn't have to be more complex than that, right? If you're training 2 days a week, most definitely do a full body if you're doing 2 strength sessions. If you're doing 3 times a week, you could do 2 full bodies. 1 full body and then an upper lower, something like that. Or make sure that you're training your body parts at least twice a week. So try to work your legs out twice a week, try to work your back out twice a week, your chest, your arms, try to do that, all right? All good there. And a fancy way of saying do more is progressive overload, right? So what I want you to think about here is every week, just try to make it like a little bit harder, right? Either add, in this order, by the way, try to add weight, reps, sets, or decrease the tempo. Try to do things in that order. So try to add 2 pounds, try to add 1 or 2 reps if you can't add the weight. If you can't add reps or weight, try to do an extra set. All of these you can't do it on some exercises because you just can't, try to do it in a more controlled fashion, right? And only aim to be 1 to 5% better every week. I mean that. I don't mean like go really hard. I mean like if you did 10 reps, ask yourself, could I do 11? Yes, you can, right? So that's pretty much that. Strength and cardio. Essentially, strength training is what you need to build your frame to build muscle, right? You need it. And I focus on it because it's the one part that is neglected by most people the most, right? Cardio is there for like heart health. You want to try to combine the two. But it's also used for like more calorie burn. So, you know, the calories that you burn when you are doing running, you burn them up front. When you do strength training, you typically burn those calories over a set of like 1, 2, 3 days, right? Your body is like constantly repairing itself. You break down the muscle tissue, you rebuild it back up, right? Include both. There is no better or worse, but I would say focus on strength training if you're not doing it at the minute. This is what focusing on strength training looks like when you actually just focus on the strength training and you don't really go into much of a calorie deficit at all, right? So really important. You can't change how much fat you have on in a particular area of your body, but what you can do is you can build more muscle in that area and you can look more toned, right? So, you know, if you build more muscle around your thighs and your legs and you have the same amount of fat on your body, you will look better and you will feel better and you'll get the benefit. So that's how I said it's like, you know, nothing is either or, right? You can just do the strength training and you'll get benefits there. So like I said, you'll be able to take loads of things from this. Yeah, and when Jenny started, she was just like, I feel really blur, I feel bloated, I don't really like the way that I look at the minute. I'm not happy when I look in the mirror, right? And obviously I've heard this many times before, so we basically got her on a proper basic strength training program, doing them really well. And then she was basically able to get so much more toned and shaped and be 10 times more confident in her life. And that also made her more productive. And that was just by training 3 basic times a week, right? And you can get these similar results, right? Training twice a week if you do it right. Just train hard. Now, mindset. I've got some good ones for you here. We need to tie it all together before I open up to Q&A for you lot. Where am I on the left? In the Dolomites, in Trecime. Maybe there's some Italians here. Probably know where that is, I'm sure. This is stuff that I love doing. I have less time to do this nowadays, but if you ask me the one place you could plonk me on earth, it'd be in the Dolomites. I've been here like 3 times, done it on my bike, done everything there. Anyway, mindset. You need this because this is where most diets will fail. And this is where, unfortunately, most of you here will fail, right? Because you don't know how to tie it together and you don't know how to stay consistent. So you need the mindset because you need to find, in order to plan for success, you need to find out what your why is, okay? So you have to be honest with yourself. And if you're doing a certain diet or you're doing something particular because your mate's doing it because you saw it online or because you saw one quick video on it, right? Your meaning has to be deeper. It has to be, I'm doing this because I want to live longer. I want to spend more time with the grandkids. There's certain activities that I want to do, right? It's about honestly finding, you know, what that why is, and that will drive you, right? And for me, when I first started, my why was I was actually the fat kid at school. I really was. And I was like, I can't go through life like this. I don't want to be Piggy from Lord of the Flies. That's what they used to call me. And that was my why, right? And that was strong enough. But if your why isn't strong enough, you won't end up doing it. You need consistency and discipline, and that's essentially trading something now for something better in the future. Delayed gratification. Any kind of investment, the longer that investment, the better, the more that you're going to get back from it, right? So the longer that you track, the more that you can be consistent with your strength training over the course of years, it will pay you back tenfold, right? And my big one, if anyone knows me, overcoming challenges. If you don't know how to overcome challenges, this is what throws people off the most. Okay? And just a quick one on plateaus and challenges and stuff like that. One of the big ones is that people will hit a snag when it comes to weight loss. So this is just an example graph on the left. This is actually mine. And you can see that for weeks on end, every single data point, it looks like nothing is happening, right? For like 2 to 3 weeks. And that gets really frustrating for people. You're like, I'm putting in the work. Why aren't I losing fat? You can get other wins, by the way, in terms of like how you feel, how do your clothes fit? What do you look like in the mirror? Do you feel better? Do you have more energy? Do you have more confidence, right? But that is essentially what happens if you are persistent. If you're persistent, you usually go through these plateaus and then you usually get like a really big drop. So that's why like being patient and baking challenges into the equation are really important. And this is a daily chart of like what weight looks like. And that's essentially the same daily chart zoomed out. And you can see there, you go, oh my God, if you look at that, you know, over a 2 to 3 week period, if you look at that over, say, 3 to 6 months, you're like, oh my God, I can't even believe why I was worrying about that, you know? You go, it's just part of the bigger context, right? And there's so many different reasons why you can plateau. You can be, it's usually just to do with like water retention, what you eat, hormones, time of the month, water retention, salt, carbs, lots of different things, right? Sometimes they're just out of your control. And when you look at this on a bigger scale, this thing here, that thing on the left, the right box, right? You look at that over the course of like a year, like you can see the trends are much clearer, right? Over time. So if in doubt, zoom out. And this is an interesting one for you to actually think about how you look at your calories from like a mindset point of view, because we all think that we have to look at things of like, okay, I have a target number and I must hit that number every day. You can do option A. We'll call this option A. 1,500 calories every single day. You can keep it flat. You can absolutely do that. If you do it like this, you go Monday, low calories, Tuesday, I went up a bit, I went out, Wednesday, I wasn't perfect, and you just have the same average, you will get identical same results. It's as simple as that, right? The other thing that throws people off is the weekends, right? So like Monday to Sunday, Monday to Friday, you keep it flat, and you have 2 days where you go back up to maintenance and you go out and you eat off track, you eat off plan. If your average is still underneath your deficit, if your calories for the week are underneath what your maintenance calories are, you're still making progress. Sometimes your weeks are not going to be perfect. In fact, I'd say to you, most of your weeks are not going to be perfect, right? They're just not, right? They're going to look more like this, and that's absolutely fine. And sometimes it's just reframing, you know, what your expectations are. And you can also do it like this. You can have one mega day where you go 2,500, 3,000 calories on one day. But instead of going, oh my God, I blew it, screw it, I'm going to write the whole weekend off. If you go back to eating largely normal the next day, you can see that your average can still be in a deficit for the week. Therefore, you're making progress. So look at things on a weekly average. Really important, right? And one of my favorite mindset graphs, tell me which of these you lot think that you might be in, if any of this relates to you, right? But everyone goes through like 5 stages when it comes to building habits and overcoming challenges, right? Whether it is business, whether it is fat loss and diets, I don't know, like could be you're running for your first marathon, right? Is we all start at this stage 1 called uninformed optimism, right? This is basically where the novelty of doing something, and you tell me where you reckon you are. People already skipped ahead, yeah. Like you said, you see something online, like, oh, that looks really interesting. You see the shiny object, right? Or you're like, oh, I've got this amazing business idea. Or, oh, my friends are doing a marathon, I want to do it with them, right? Whatever that thing is, right? Let's just relate it to diets. As you see this thing, someone's getting results doing XYZ. They're taking this weird supplement, or they're taking something that looks really new, right? And then what happens is that they start doing the thing, right? And then number 2, they get to informed pessimism, right? And what that is, you tell me if where you lot are, if you're in the chat, if this happens to you, you start something new and then you go, do you know what? This is actually more work than I actually had planned for. I'm not sure I can do this. You know, let's say you go low carbs and then after 2 weeks, you're like, I feel like I'm just sitting on the side of a table, just like on my own, making my own plates of food. I can't eat with my family. Or you sit there and you're like, oh my God, I've got to do this marathon training. I've got to do this, run 4 times a week. This is long. I can't be bothered to do that. And then it actually dawns on you that this is going to be too much for you to handle. And then eventually we get to what I always think is, it sounds like the worst place on earth, the valley of despair. That's basically, unfortunately, where 90% of people get to. They get here and then they quit. And they go, sod this, I can't do this anymore. Doesn't work for me. And essentially they just stop. They pack it all in, right? And then they go all the way back to stage 1. After like 2 weeks, 2 months, 6 months, a year, they try the next new cool thing. Or, someone's eating off a wooden board, just having steaks all day. I'll give that a go, right? And then the cycle repeats. And the more times that you stay stuck in this cycle, right, the less confidence you have in actually achieving whatever that end desired goal is. And it embeds failure like into your mindset. The more times you do this in life, right? So what you always need to do in order to be the 10% people, right, and get out of that, is you're going to go into informed optimism. So what that means is over here is basically where you've put in things like accountability, you have people around you, you have the right plan in place. You haven't got to the point where you go 2 weeks, oh my God, I'm really hungry, I'm not losing weight, whatever that frustrating thing is, because you baked it into the plan. Like I said, overcoming challenges is the one biggest thing that throws people off. They start something and they don't bake that thing in, and then they go, oh my God, I can't do this anymore, and then they quit. But if you bake them in, you can absolutely overcome that. And then after that, you essentially get into, you know, that what is success, which for me is like, it's you know, embedding it into your everyday life. You're not even thinking about it aware. It becomes on autopilot. You're not sitting there even tracking your calories, protein, fiber every single meal. You kind of know that, hey, look, my meal should look more like this. I'm probably going to do this when I go out. And you've embedded everything and you don't even think about it. And what I think is actually a really nice carryover is you carry this over into whatever your next endeavor is. When you start your next fitness endeavor, you start a high rocks, you start, I don't know, you do a marathon, you do a 5K, you do a 10K, whatever, right? You'll be like, I've done this before, and this is basically how you do it, right? And then the critical mind shift here is, like I said, expect challenges, build them into the plan. Think about weekly wins, not just daily perfection, okay? Really important. You're never going to be perfect. I never have the same calories every day, by the way, right? I just loosely track them, and I know this through experience, right? And just remember, if it took you 10 to 20 years to put on the weight and to not do any training, you ain't going to reverse that in 1 week. Just the reality, right? If you can't undo 10 years in the space of 2 weeks, you have to, you know, work back that it's going to take a little bit of time to, you know, implement some changes and make it a lifestyle fix, right? So important. And like I said, one bad day does not make a bad week, right? One bad day is not a bad week. Super important. And there are many ways to track progress, like non-scale victories. Like I said, what do you look like in the mirror? Are you stronger? Are you more confident? Are you more toned? Do your clothes fit better? Do you feel better mentally? Are you sleeping better, right? These are all markers that are not just tied to a number on the scale and just weight, right? So really important to think like that. And just make sure that you've got social support systems. You have to be surrounded by someone or a group of people who are going to support your goals, right? You are the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. And if you spend time with people who have bad habits, that will impact you and it will reflect on you, right? So whether that is like coaching with me, whether that is like having friends that are also doing it together and you've got WhatsApp groups, whatever that is, make sure that you have that around, right? And some perspective for you all, right? 1 meal is less than 5% of your week. Doesn't sound so bad now once you go off plan for 1 meal. 1 entire day is less than 14% of your week, right? So, you know, it's when you put it into perspective like that, you sort of go, actually, you're telling me that if I had 1 day completely off plan, I've got 86% of the rest of the week to make up for it. Cool. Like when you look at it like that, it doesn't have to be binary and an all or nothing mentality, right? And imagine this, right? If you wanted to save 10 grand, right? And that was your goal. Let's use money instead of calories, right? Say you're sort of trying to lose 10,000 calories, right? Save 10 grand, right? And 1 week, you only saved £150 instead of £200. Would you sit there and like just quit and just be like, nah, I'm not saving anymore? You wouldn't. You just get on to the next week and you'd be like, okay, cool, I'll just try to cut back next week, and you'd move on, right? So like I said, try to get rid of this like all or nothing mentality. Look at things from a bigger perspective. And Jemima, she is the best example of what it looks like to tie everything together. Panicked before very panicky, if she wouldn't mind me saying, about like the foods that she ate, and she needed like a bit of validation and stuff, and she was like, I've tried loads of stuff, doesn't really work for me. Had loads of holidays she wanted to go on, and then basically ends up being exactly the same location, I think that was 6 months later, and a completely different person. And now she's got a really good relationship with food, gets loads of compliments, and everyone's like, oh my God, I can't believe that was you. That's one of the best feelings, where you go on a little bit of a journey, and then people look at where where you've come, and they're like, wow, you have really made amazing progress, right? And then just the last like 1 minute to tie this together is you need to tie everything together in terms of like, this is how I would do it in like a 90-day sort of sprint, if you like. Take those foundations and habit buildings in the first 1 to 2 weeks. So be aware of your calories, start to track your protein, track your fiber, implement some of those changes with the workouts, and build a plan and a mindset to help you do that. And on weeks 3 and 6, right, you're generally making small refinements here and there. You're like, could hit my calories, but I'm struggling to get my protein target. What can I do to change 1 or 2 things to be improved, to be better and improve next week? You keep doing that. And then if you can do this for like 7 to 10 weeks, that's when you really start to see amazing change and results. The people that I coach, week 6 and 10 is where they really start to say to me, Adam, I feel stronger. I'm down 5 pounds. I'm down 10 pounds. I'm down 15 pounds. I feel so much better. Thank you. Everything is in like an amazing place. So that's what you should expect on like a week 7 to 10. And then after 90 days, it's always long enough to see. So it's always a really good time frame, because it's not too long to mentally to commit to something for 90 days, but it's also more than long enough to see like amazing change. We've done like, I used to do like 6-week challenges and 90-day challenges and stuff in my boot camps and online and stuff. And 90 days is always like the gold standard. And you can do, you know, all of these 3 things. So all of these things that I've mentioned today, and you can see results like this, like Kat, like Anne, like Cesc, and have all of these amazing results, right? But you can know all of these things and still fail, right? Because if you don't have personalized feedback and you don't basically adjust based on results, and the big one, if you have no accountability, right, you'll fail. So what you do need is something that is personalized. You do need something that is going to give you feedback, something that you can track, right? And ultimately, you need something that is a support guide for you, right? And essentially, you've got 3 options that you can do from right now on this call, right? You can keep doing what you're doing, but you're not, because you're like, I've listened to Adam. I'm going to hopefully put some stuff in place, and you're going to start using some of the stuff that we've gone through, and you can hope that you stay the course. The other way to do it, I always let people know whenever I do these masterclasses, is that if you wanted to do it together with me, which is the proven way, I'll show you basically how I do that inside my coaching. And if you want to do that, then great. But the way that I sort of frame it is that, you know, you could be stuck on the side of the road wanting to fix something, and you can do it all yourself, and you can kind of hope that you stay the course. But sometimes it is easier to just get a support network and work with someone to actually expedite and speed up those results, and actually make sure that you're doing everything correctly, right? And having like rock solid accountability. So for anyone who does want to inquire about the coaching, have a look at it. These places always go really quick, so I'm sorry if they do go like on the masterclasses. We do release a few on the replay, so that will be like down in the description if anyone watches this on replay. But if you're someone who wants to lose their next 15 to 25 pounds, or you just want to tone up, feel more confident, and look and feel your best in the next 90 days. For anyone who does want to do that, there's basically 10 spots on this masterclass that I release. As you can imagine, it's a very busy place for me at the minute, so you never see me advertise online or put in my stories like, oh, coaching. I only really do these for like masterclasses. And if you want to do it without restrictive diets, having a miserable time, and you actually want to have some fun doing it, I'll show you how we do it, right? So in our coaching, the way that we do it is you basically have one-to-one personalized plan. This is not a PDF. This is like you jump on a call with either myself, Amy, or Inka, and we will basically go through this in deep detail, okay? And we'll go through exactly what you need. We stay on as long as we need to. We get really clear on what your goals are and what your whys are, and then we actually create that plan for you. You will get weekly progress check-ins so that you can be consistent and you can be held accountable. We will message you. I guarantee you, we will message you if you haven't done the stuff that you got to do, right? You need someone that does that, right? Because as soon as you fall off track one week, it, you know, all falls apart. You also get a lot of follow-up calls to actually, like, we put those in to make sure that we can monitor milestones, so we don't just give you a plan and leave you to it. We put these calls into the diary and we make you turn up to those. I also, in my own coaching, I host 3 live calls as a community where we just have like a small private rooms of probably like 2 to 8 people on average. I will answer all your questions, stay as long as you need, and I help keep you motivated in those. My calls and my coaching is basically for anyone who is like on planet Earth. It's like, it doesn't really matter if you're in UK, US, Australia. We have different time zones for different calls. We work around like your time zones and stuff, but we essentially, I put 3 calls in the week also just to make sure that I have like an evening, a lunchtime, and a morning. So we basically cover everyone's basis. You also get all of the workouts. So these are all tailored to what you need. If you need something specific like gym workouts, all that kind of stuff, we'll tell you what to do and how to replace them. You can do them at home or in the gym. Really simple and easy to do. And you also get access to my inner circle, which is where we keep you motivated, engaged, and you're in my private group. And for anyone who does want to do it, I'm very open and transparent. If you don't join on the masterclasses, you will have seen this for $9.99. If you do want to join and you want to use the code and the link that I give you today, you can basically get it half price. You can also split the options if you want to, whatever works best for you. And then there's a couple of other things, because I know a lot of you are going to ask me about this, so I will tell you. You do get that starting call, which is really important. We don't always include those because they take a lot of manual work from us, but this is where we can create a super tailored plan. You'll have access to all of my meal plans and recipe ebooks, and if you are part of my coaching, you will get access to Noura for free, which is pretty cool. And just to let you know, when you come in, you have a direct line to message us inside the private coaching. So if you need anything like, Adam, can you review this menu for me? Cool, message me, we'll do it. Adam, can you tweak this for me? Can you create me a plan for this? Whatever. Let us know. We try to build relationships. That's how you get people to be consistent and stay accountable. And like I said, you get everything inside my app, and you're going to want to know what's inside my app, because inside my app as well, you've got hundreds of recipes that you can choose from. You've got personalized meal plans. The app, I'm telling you, is cheap for what you'll get. Like people keep telling me I need to bump it up, because otherwise I'll end up with too many people. But hundreds of recipes, super personalized meal planner. So let's say you're like, I want a 3-day meal plan that doesn't include this, but is under 500 calories, that has high fiber. It will spew it out for you, right? You've got live calls as well, in addition, right? So anyone who's part of my Noura app will know that I do live calls on a Monday evening and a Thursday morning, and I host these as like Q&A. So these are additional calls that people get. So if you're a part of the Noura app, you get access to these live calls as well. You'll get access to my weekly workouts. You'll get access to, I promise you, the best food tracker. Like, I use my food tracker every day religiously. I make it so easy to use. This is built, everything, by the way, my app is built like from the ground up with my brain, if that makes sense, right? I don't I don't work with any third-party people. I do no brand partnerships. I don't care about that. All I care about is basically helping people in a way that like works for me, and is going to be helpful for you. You got really easy dashboard to track everything. You can sync your steps, you can sync your sleep, you can sync your Apple, you can sync your Google, you can see everything in a really easy way. I think you'll see there's a lot of time and care has gone into it. You can of course track your progress, and you've got loads of guides that will more and more gets added every single week, but you've got lots of stuff in there as well. And I try to over deliver on the app, just give you loads of value in there. And the app, if you want to get the app on its own, it's 20 quid a month. You can cancel anytime. This is about $25 or $30 or something like that. If you're US, if you're euros, it'll probably be like 23 or 24.99 or something. I've tried to make it really cheap, and I've given you the link here if you want to get it as well. I'll just put them on screen at the end so you can get them. And just to give you extra peace of mind, whether it is my app or whether it is my coaching, right? If you're not happy after the first week, just tell me and I'll give you your money back. I want to work with people who are happy and who are motivated to achieve results. So if for any reason I can make it risk-free for you and you're like, all right, I'll dabble in this, let me see what any of these two are about, you should do it, because I promise you, it will massively help you. And I'm actually inside both communities. Like I run the Noura community and I run my one-on-one coaching. So if you are interested in that one-to-one coaching and you want to work with me and the team in a closer capacity, you will see a lot of me in there. Then you can just go ahead and message me either on WhatsApp or WhatsApp's better. WhatsApp, Instagram, or email the word interested, or you can scan that QR code on the screen. Okay, I'll leave this on the screen in a minute so that you can see it. This will take you to like the one-to-one coaching, and you can grab that there. So that's pretty much what to do. So like I said, if you want any other details, just message me interested. If you're like, Adam, I want to grab one of those spaces, sounds amazing, you want to work with me, fab, I'll see you in there. You basically get access, you just straight book onto the next call. And just to show, just to give you an idea what all the different three different sort of products that I have are, if you just want to keep the recipe books, you can just get them here on the left hand side, scan the code, and just type in the thing at the top. It says early 50, you get 50% off. If you want access to all of my ebooks and you want access to me inside the live coaching, we've got a private community in there where we post 3 times a week. We are very active. And you want my meal tracker and you want everything. I promise you, you'll make food and sticking to nutrition 10 times easier. If you want the meal planner, everything, you can do this. There's an option, I think, for £20 a month on that link that I've given you there. Or you can even do an annual for $149. I promise you, they're like dirt cheap. And I know for a fact that other content creators are not inside their apps because they will create something and they're like, okay, cool, I can sell it. I want to be in here because I want to be part of everything that is like going on here. This is why I don't have like a massive team of loads of people, right? And of course, if you do want access to the one-to-one coaching, you can do this here as well. Okay. If you want to get access to the coaching, scan that QR code at the bottom right. That the difference between the three is recipe on the left, just the recipe ebooks. My app, which is basically the middle ground, amazing value, and you'll basically get access to community calls, more of a one-to-many approach, but I am in there. We help answer your questions, and you get the best meal tracker. I'm telling you, best meal tracker, and you'll get hundreds of all of my recipes beyond the recipe ebooks, as well as the recipe ebooks. My meal planner, you can set your custom macros, and it will guide you with exactly what you need to do. Okay, and then my coaching is for those people who want that closer capacity, who are like, Adam, do it for me. I want you to take control of the reins. Tell me exactly what I need to do, and I want bulletproof, rock solid, like guaranteed results and accountability, where someone actually looks after you. So if any of those three, I guarantee one of those three, you're going to be like, I'll be happy with any one of those. You'll be really happy with any of them. It just depends which one is for you. So, sorry if that one went on a little bit longer today. I shall leave this on screen and now do the fun part, which is open it up to Q&A. Let's see if I can do this. How do I do this? Here we go. All right, magic. Jill, it's your 3rd masterclass. That's how you know you can put your hand up. Amazing. You need to do what Jill did. So I'm just gonna. By the way, can you see the Zoom screen on my screen with all the people on it? Yeah, yay or nay? Yes. I was just wondering. Cool. So now I just need to allow you guys to unmute so I can chat to you lot. Yeah, basically you need to click where it says like reaction or something at the bottom. It lets you put your hand up, just like all of these girls like over here. Just give me a second. More. Give me a sec. Get rid of that. I need to allow you guys. Give me a sec. Sorry, just need to. Oh. Yes. Okay, I think you can unmute yourselves. I'll go with Jill. If you hit the unmute button.
Hi.
How are we doing, Jill?
Yeah, good, thank you. Really interesting as always. Um, the reason, well, apart from because I wanted to come back and listen again to all the information, but also I just wanted to ask you, I've been considering joining the Noura app,
Yeah.
but I've been logging in FitnessPal for quite a long time.
Hmm.
Is there can I is there any way of transferring like my information that I've got in FitnessPal to your app in any way?
You
Like I've
won't be
got
able,
lots of
yeah, and I know what you mean. You won't be able to transfer the data. You'll have to start from like a clean account, but that would be the same for any app. They wouldn't. It's
yeah,
not. It's not possible to cross transfer like that. So if you
right.
go in there, you can. It's really easy to set up. But my layout is not the same as all of. I find all of these apps. I've used my Fitness Pal for 15 years. I find it quite complicated. Um, to use, especially since the new update. I might have mentioned this on like the last masterclass, and it can be quite overwhelming. And people, I forgot to mention, like inside my food tracker, like I've got like a database that I have created myself as a layer on top of the same database that my Fitness Pal or NutriCheck
Yeah.
have. Because you know when you type in stuff like chicken breast, and you're like, oh, I've got 600 chicken breast options. What do I
600
pick, right?
different ones.
Yeah. If you just choose my one, you'll be able to choose everything in like metric, imperial, everything easy, all the recipes, metric, everything is like
Oh,
my DNA. I've built the whole thing. So feel free to give it a try. You can technically anyone in here if you want to try Noura and you want to what's it called? Um if you want to try it for a month and cancel, you can absolutely do that. No, no problem
mm.
for me.
No, yeah,
So
no,
yeah,
I'm really interested to try it. It's just that I've used FitnessPal like not quite as long as you, but quite for so many years that I've got loads and loads of recipes and stuff that I've done in there, and I just that it's a bit daunting to think, oh, I've got to add it all again because it's for me some of it is really easy because I know that I'm going to find, I don't know, chili con carnes though, that I've logged it and I know what I use and
sure.
I know
Yeah.
what I've got, and I've just got to do it all over again.
You'll be able to easily create all of your own recipes and you can do all of that sort of stuff, but you do have to create your own thing. But sometimes it can be like a bit of a novelty as well to sort of start something new and be like, okay, see what's
Yeah,
in here, and it might make it easy. If it over the long term, I would say something makes it easier to like track and all that kind of stuff, then hopefully it can be like a net positive. And you can take
yeah,
all of my recipes, by the way. You don't need to scan barcodes anymore and use all that. You can just take anything from my ebook or all of my other roster of recipes, and you just go log, done. I've got a serving
so
size,
they'll go straight in.
all done for you. All my recipes
Ah,
are embedded in. So you have a recipe section. You're like, okay, I want the date mousse, and you go
mhm.
log, and you go, I only want half a pot. Okay, put 0.5, or you change it to whatever,
Right.
or you want to change one ingredient because you used 600 grams of Greek yogurt for some reason instead of 300, and you didn't follow my recipe. Whatever reason, you can hopefully easily change that. And there's also the benefit of the community in there. So I'm in there answering
Yes.
questions and stuff. So
Wh-
um, hopefully
Which
that's of
is what I
value as well.
really, yeah, that really appeals, to be honest. I really like that part. But I just wanted to come on and I'll ask that question before I kind of like totally
It's
went for
all good.
it.
All good. Yeah, glad that you're here for a third time.
No, I enjoy it. It's really good. I always do. And there's
Good.
always something new and there's always something that I've missed like the time before. So
What are you
it's
talking
really
about?
good to come back.
Good. Excellent. Fabulous.
Okay. Thank you.
Okie doke. Right, nice one, Jill. I'll fly over to
Oh, Ben.
Mina.
Hi. Don't
How's
know
it
if you
going?
can see me.
Got
Hi.
you loud and clear.
Oh, good, good. Yeah, no, my recent thing is inflammation in my body,
Yep.
and I want to get into a diet that is more sort of anti-inflammatory. So
Sure.
I don't know if any of your recipes touch that.
Um, if you're looking for like generally less inflammation and you're kind of going, that's something that you want to focus on. That's more of a eating healthier kind of broad stroke brush question. So like, if let's say you go into my coaching or you get one of my app, all of my recipes, by the way, give you every single recipe will give you the precise amount of the right serving of fiber or the right serving of protein. But if you're looking to like reduce inflammation, improve that, there's other things that you can do as well. You can improve your diet. You can improve your sleep and stuff like that. A lot of them are like the bedrock corners of the basic stuff that you would normally do. And I didn't go into inflammation today, but there's going to be foods that are obviously high in the anti-inflammatory stuff, like blueberries. I'm making foods up here which is correct, but like pomegranate, like fish oils. Eating a wholesome diet is where it starts, right? So that's kind of what I'd say on all things food recipes and avoiding that, and then cutting out the stuff that isn't so good for you, right, as much as you can, right?
Yeah, I think that's where I need to start. But
start with what you can swap or take out. If there's anything that you can make it, any low hanging fruit. I'm just using an example, right? Let's say you always reach out for like chocolate snacks, or you reach out for, I don't know,
crisps.
crisps, all of
me.
that sort of stuff, right? If there's anything that you can do there, doesn't mean that you can't have those foods, but like I said, someone asked me earlier, what does 80-20 mean? If you're getting like 80-90% of your foods from whole foods, like, you should be covering your basis.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you so much. This has been such great, an hour and a half now, isn't it? But it's been valuable. Thank you.
Good, amazing. I always say, you don't get many free things in life, but the hour and a half that you get with me on a masterclass, it is free. I try to give you, I try to go to every effort that I can to make every slide, everything visual and engaging. So I'm not just putting boring words on your screen. So hopefully you've, I'm glad that you've enjoyed it anyway.
No, it's really been valuable. Thank you.
Magic. I'll go over to Vishwas. You can just hit the unmute button. There we go.
Hi, thank you so much for doing this. It was really informative.
Good stuff.
My question is, I just wanted to know, like, two things actually. One is, I mean, in protein, I've heard about bioavailability and things like that. Not everything is, equally bioavailable. So even in fiber, is there anything like that, or like?
Oh, I think you just lost you there. You Vishwas.
Oh, sorry, I was just saying, like, is consuming fiber from any source, is it equally good, or or is there any difference between fiber from different?
Got it. Yeah, I think what you were saying was about kind of like when you said about bioavailability, you mean kind of like the quality of the protein and the fiber. Is that kind of what you mean? Yeah. So just for everyone on protein, if you are getting any meat, eggs, fish, or dairy source, right? It is largely the same quality of protein. You don't need to worry about what foods those protein sources are coming from. Just focus on the whole number. I promise you, right? The only time it does get a bit tricky is if you are vegan. Sometimes you need to eat a little bit more in order to get all of the amino acids, because protein is made up of long day.
9 essential amino acids.
Yes, exactly. 9 essential amino acids, but you need, without getting too technical into it, you need to get leucine, right? Is the one that you need for like muscle building. Meat, eggs, fish, and dairy always has those, as well as like soy and tofu and stuff like that. But if you get some like chickpeas and stuff like that, they can contain some, but not all of it. So you need to get enough in there. But I wouldn't worry about that. Whey protein also a really good option for protein and fiber. If you just get I didn't go into it today, as you can tell, I could probably talk for ages, but there is like insoluble and soluble fiber in different quantities of each and stuff that would be beneficial for you. But if you get a wide range of fiber, or you want to look it up after this, just try to make sure that you're getting some insoluble and some soluble. But if you get the ones that were at the top of my list, like chia seeds, and you get like raspberries, pears, broccolis, and you have a wide range, just focus on the fiber number. Don't worry about like the intricate small numbers. It's not worth it.
Got it.
If that makes sense.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome. Barbara, how are we doing?
Good, thank you. I'm calling from Canada, as a matter of fact.
Wonderful.
I have two very quick questions. One is, I don't tolerate protein powder, and I see a number of your recipes do add it. So are there other proteins I might add? And the second question is, one of my downfalls is cravings, in particular, something sweet at night. So what would you recommend for those two?
Good questions. I think if your protein powder doesn't agree with you, you can do a couple of things. You can swap to something typically which has less lactose. So if you get something called whey protein concentrate, which is like the standard whey protein, you can go to something called whey protein isolate, which has marginally fewer calories, but that's not really particularly the reason that you would get it. But it's just more friendly if you're like, it doesn't, if you basically get stomach problems and it doesn't agree with you, try whey protein isolate. You can also try to go to like soy or pea protein and stuff like that. You're not really losing anything, you're getting all the amino acids. So I'd say just have a play around with those. You can always get sample packs and stuff like that. And sometimes different brands just react a bit differently to them. They just contain slightly different like nutritional profiles and ingredients and stuff. So have a look at that. And if you are snacking in the evening and you're looking for a workaround, I would say, firstly, very normal. Happens to me, happens to everyone in here. You need to make sure that you're arming yourself, right, with like as many good snacks and stuff. Like basically make sure that your cupboard and your fridge is filled with the right stuff. So if you have like, I'm just making this up, like dates, dark chocolate, popcorn, and you have like Greek yogurt, and you have go-to recipes which you could find either in my app or in my recipe book, or recipes that you enjoy, you need to have those on hand. And you might also want to identify foods that are hyper palatable. So what I mean by that is there are going to be certain foods like biscuits, or there's going to be certain foods like milk chocolate, like Maltesers. No one in this room who has one Malteser stops at one, because if you do, you're a psychopath. Right, you go and you eat 20, right? So you have to identify what those foods are. And if you're in a period where like I want to take my nutrition quite seriously, you're probably going to want to cut back and maybe remove those for a period of time. Usually those things are typically with things like ice cream, cookies and stuff like that. And what was the other thing I was going to say on snacking and stuff? Yes, if you are not tracking already, you're not paying attention to like protein and fiber, that in and of itself will help you, right? Like if you are hitting your protein and fiber targets, you are less hungry. You feel like you have more stable energy, and you're not going to be like rummaging through. Sometimes, you know, we're all human, right? But all you're doing is pulling as many levers as you can to give yourself the highest probability of success. You know, the more things you do, the more recipes you've got, the more times you listen to me or you jump on my calls and all that kind of stuff, you're going to be like, okay, cool. I'm setting myself up for success. So that's what I'd say.
Thank you.
Good. Hopefully that answers your question. Good stuff. Ruth, I think. How's it going, Ruth?
Oh, hi. Hi, Adam. I've signed up and I paid, but when I go further and it says book your one-to-one call here, it says there's an error code and it says page not found, which kind of terrifies me that I've just put a lot of money down.
Let me just check.
Okay.
It might be because
Just
the new
a lot of activity.
Yeah, no, it won't be a lot of activity. It will just be like we might have switched the link because sometimes we change the calendar. But thanks for letting me know. Don't worry if anyone's signed up and they've got that. We will pester you anyway, so don't worry. If you're in for the coaching.
Okay, I was just sending you a text on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Okay,
absolutely.
I will.
You got. I just wanted to say, Ruth, you got the WhatsApp confirmation, right?
I did get that. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so I will message you on there.
I haven't got an
so
email.
Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fabulous.
Great. Thank you.
Magic.
Okay.
Nice
take care.
one, Ruth. Take care. And Shailene, I think. How's it going?
Oh, yes. Hi. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. How's it going?
Oh, I am so sorry. My camera's not working on my computer, so I'm the voice with the headless voice. So I'm calling from Boston. I love watching your posts. I have two questions. The first one was, I'm so curious. this is not really nutrition. Why do you always lean against the counter that way? It looks like I'm so curious.
It's my most requested comment in the comment section. They're like, why is he always leaning against the counter? Has he got scoliosis? That's just how I do it. I did it once when I started doing my videos, because it's the only angle I can get sunlight into into the dash counter, right? And it just has the best lighting, and it just works for me. I've just got used to it. So don't worry about my back. I'm good.
Oh, I was just simply curious. Thank you. And second question, I asked in the chat, but you've got so many questions you probably couldn't answer.
Yeah.
So you said 80-20. I've heard about that, or 90-10, right? So eat well and then cheat once or twice, you know.
Sure.
If I do 90-10, and let's say 1 day a week or even 2 days, let's start with one. On my cheat day, I have, let's say, 2 or 3 glasses of wine. Does that inhibit weight loss? I've heard it does, but on the other hand, if you keep in a calorie, you know, the right amount of calories, and instead of pizza or cookies, I'm having wine, is that okay? And I see your client in the picture that you have up there, right? The girl who lost weight, she's holding a glass of champagne. So I'm sure you think she's holding champagne, yes. So is it okay to have a few glasses of wine once, twice a week? I'm so confused about that. I hear different opinions.
Yep, absolutely. You can include any food as long as it is like within your calorie budget, so to speak.
Right.
And everyone has periods where you go on holiday, you have a drink, you have a Christmas party, you have, you know, whatever it is that you're doing, right?
Right.
Now, the more of these foods that you include, especially with alcohol, right? The harder it is to stay within your calories. But then, like, if we're just taking alcohol as an example, it has a really meaningfully bad impact on your sleep and your decision making. The more of it you have, right? You'll go to sleep, and unfortunately, people, I wish I could give you good news and be like, oh, red wine makes you sleep better and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't. Like, any alcohol is not going to do you do better without it. But you can absolutely include it. It's fine. It's just like I said, it will impact. The more of it you have, the harder it is to sort of stay on track. Because, you know, when we all have alcohol, you're like, oh my god, I want to eat something yummy the next day, or I want to have chips kebab. You know, that's just the extreme example of like a night out. You know,
Right.
So alcohol has 7 calories per gram, and your body will prioritize burning off alcohol as opposed to anything else. It will do that first, right? So it stops everything else and it burns off the alcohol. So it stops the fat burning and it will do that. However, is that if you equate for calories, the net effect is the same. So once it burns it off, it just resumes doing whatever it was doing, and it's always the net effect of your actions. So you can absolutely include all of this stuff and you'll be fine.
Thank you. Yeah, like you said, it inhibits eating, your decision making, right? So you want more fatty stuff or salty stuff after alcohol. But if you can control that and keep it within the calorie deficit, it's fine, right? Because I hear, like I said, different things. So thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate all your posts. I love watching your videos.
Magical. Good. Love it. You are most welcome. Glad I could answer your question. Erin, how are we doing?
Hi, Adam.
How's it
Thank you
going?
for this masterclass. It's great. My question is, I have your recipe, one of your recipe books, and I do not like 0% or low percent dairy or yogurt or whatever. It tastes horrible to me. So if I'm using full fat dairy, is that a problem?
If you're using full fat dairy, no, it's not a problem.
Just again, just with the calories, it would make a difference, right?
It just makes it just makes a difference to the calories rather than anything else. If you're like, I can't stand 0% Greek yogurt or low fat yogurts and low fat products and stuff like that, and you want to have the higher fat, it's absolutely fine. And you're not, by the way, if anyone asks me this or wants to know, you're not losing out on vitamins and minerals really by going like low fat, because also, by the way, people, when you go low fat, you typically replace it with other healthy fats like chia seeds or nuts or, I don't know, random stuff, right? Avocados or whatever. So just something to note there. But yeah, it's just a calories thing, Erin.
Okay. And then just one more question. For your app, if you have, I mean, I don't know, I know you're in the UK and I'm in the US. if we have specific foods that are only available in the US, is there a way to scan those in your app?
Yep, you can do all of that functionality. I haven't skimped out on anything. So you will be able to find foods that are in the US. You will be able to create a barcode if for some reason it doesn't come up, because companies randomly do that. They don't supply, nutritional information. And you can, what else can you do? Yeah, you can basically, I think it's got I don't know, millions of food in there. So you've got all of that in there. And so, yeah, you can do that.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Magical, good stuff. Yeah, so people are asking me, I can't scan the QR code. I'll just put the, if anyone wants it in the chat. I should have done this, sorry, beginning. It's just, there's a lot of managing on my side, like a Zoom room and answering questions and all that kind of stuff. I'll try to answer some questions as well, but if anyone wants the link to the Noura app, you can just have a look in the chat. I'll just put it there, but meantime I'll fly over to Lisa. How's it going, Lisa?
It's Lisa and Margaret here. So it's Margaret who was looking to join, and we just wanted to check because she's 19. Is it okay for a 19-year-old to join?
Yeah, I've actually got a few people who have got their some of their kids involved on like using the recipes and stuff, who are like 16, 17. Another lady's got like a 21-year-old who's at uni. So it will give you, obviously you've got access to all the recipes. And sorry, do you mean the app?
No, the actual 3-month one-to-one.
Oh, right. Yes. If you're as long as you're 18 or older, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when you book that first call, which should be you'll get a WhatsApp anyway, and you'll just book in your first call, and yeah, we'll just go through everything with you. So you might you can chat to me if you want to as well. It's all good. I'll sit down with you, deep dive into everything, and you'll probably have that first call. Hopefully it'll be like a 7 out of 10 for motivation. And then you'll leave the call with a 9 out of 10 for a 9 out. No, you leave with a 10 out of 10 for motivation, and I'll bring you down a peg because I'm just like, right, it's gonna bake in a few challenges. You're probably gonna have weekends out, right? So yeah. All good.
Okay, brilliant. That's good news because we just booked it.
Okay, excellent, good stuff. Looking forward to seeing you in there.
Yeah. All right, thanks.
Excellent, nice one. Any other questions, Lisa, or is it just that?
No, that's good. Yeah. Thank you.
Magic. Nice, Lisa. I'll fly over to, is it Shinar?
It's Sheena.
Sheena,
Sorry.
almost.
So I know it's unusual it's a difficult one to say. That was really interesting, Adam, so thanks very much for that. I've just got a couple of questions. Quick one is about fasting, and if you have an opinion on that and how that would fit into your sort of program. And the second one is related to age and the losing of 10 to 20 pounds in sort of 90 days. Do you see a correlation between, say, let's say people who are younger in their 40s and haven't, probably still have more muscle mass already than, say, somebody who's in their 60s? And do you see that therefore there's less weight loss versus the older somebody is?
Good question. Yeah, good question. So the first one was the fasting. In short, I do have an opinion on fasting. You can fast. You don't have to fast. The results are exactly the same if you equate for calories, protein, and fiber in terms of like for like outcomes. It's just that you'll find with any kind of fasting. Let's say someone does like what are they called nowadays? Like 16/8 or whatever these fasting different
intermittent fasting.
Yeah, intermittent fasting at different times, right? Is that if you squeeze your eating window into, let's say, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., you will find it harder to get in your protein and fiber because you have less meals, therefore less opportunity to get in another like extra portion of protein or fiber or whatever goodness that you're looking to add to your meals. However is, if you enjoy fasting, do it. I've done both. Sometimes I do it without realizing, every now and then you skip breakfast or you don't have dinner or something. Essentially fasting is exactly the same thing, but there is no extra benefit in terms of like metabolism. That's the fancy word that I'm lking for. like your body like eats itself and repairs new autophagy and new cells and all that kind of stuff. The net effect in a calorie deficit is the same. It's been studied, right? So I would say that on fasting, there's no magical benefit, but by all means, if you prefer having 2 meals a day or you prefer to do it in a particular routine, then absolutely fine. And love the second question in terms of like progress and results for someone in different age groups. You do find just out of the law of averages that someone who is 40 who doesn't train that much, or they don't have their habits in order, if we can call it that, compared to someone who is 65, right, and is in the same place 20 years later, the answer is kind of like yes, because they don't have as much muscle and all that kind of stuff. But it doesn't actually, it's all really dependent on the person, right? Because like on paper, someone who is, let's just take the other end of the extreme, someone who's like 80 or 70 or 75, you know, anyone who goes into a calorie deficit and has the correct numbers is going to see progress. I have people who, most of my clients, by the way, are 40s, 50s, and 60s. That is literally bang on my demographic. So you can absolutely still make loads of progress with muscle building and all that kind of stuff even when you are 60. And we've even had people who are like even older who want to get into like strength training and stuff. So yeah, I'd just say don't let that be a limiting factor if that's something that you were thinking about. I think it is actually just an interesting question anyway. But something else actually to add to that would be between the age of 30 to 60, right, your metabolism doesn't even drop, right? The only thing that is actually happening there is that you are not training and you have less muscle and you're more sedentary. That is the discrepancy in terms of like, oh, why it's so much harder at like 40, 50 and even like 60. If you do a proper strength routine, you will maintain pretty much all of and most of your muscles up until 60s and 70s. You really will. The hard bit is being consistent with it. So that's kind of what I'd say. So don't use that as a limiting factor. Like I said, if you train, like me now, 37 years old, compared to, I know it's not like 77 or 67, but I can feel that some things are maybe like a little bit tougher than what they were 10 years ago. But my strength is pretty much the same. Squatting the same weight, I'm benching the same weights. I'm stronger in some areas because you can continue to gain strength in your 40s and 50s. So that's probably a few extra, you know, points that I'd make on that. So hopefully that.
Thank you. Yeah, no, that's helpful. Thanks.
Good stuff. Someone's asking me for ebook links. Let me see if I can find it. Sorry. Anyone any other questions before I start whizzing through the chat? I'll see what you got for me. I'll work my way down to up. So the people who are probably still here. If someone wants to say anything, just unmute yourselves and fire away. If anyone wants the ebooks are the cornerstone of AHC. I'm trying to do, I've just put it in the chat if anyone wants it. I'm trying to do number 4 for November, but I've got like some immense deadlines. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do an ebook 4 because I've got Noura and I'm constantly adding like new recipes every week in there. And what will be fun for all of you lot is they're three ebooks, Jill, so you can get them all with a bundle on that link. What I am doing, I'm doing a published book for March 2027. That's going to be like something completely different. So what would be quite cool is that if you're in the UK at least, you'll walk into Tesco or Waitrose or you'll walk into Waterstones or something and you'll be like, it's that guy that I was talking to on a Masterclass webinar. There's his book. And then you'll probably see me on the front cover. So that's exciting. And that's a lot of work. And I don't even know how I've even survived up until now in terms of like the workload and capacity. But I enjoy what I do. So yeah, that's kind of what I'd say. On ebooks, a little update on that. All right, I'm going to whiz through comments and just try to get to as many of them as I can. Jill, you said you've got number 3. How do you get the other 2? It's actually cheaper. Trust me, it's actually cheaper to just buy the bundle again. You'll get all of them. Otherwise, you have to buy them individually. You basically get a discount on a discount. Otherwise, it's like, I believe, $9.99 and $21.99. So just do it that way. You'll get it much cheaper. That way. Yeah. Any questions? Just talk over me. I'm just reading through this. Thanks for the masterclass. Very informative. I will send you all a replay of this on Tuesday morning. Right. I'm out all day tomorrow. I filmed 3 if you like my reels, you should see what I've got for you next week. You will love it. I've got that one with the muscle, but I've put it into a reel. Really, really good one. And I've got 2 recipes that you must try. If you don't try them, I'll be really sad. Let's have a look. Yeah, bonus you will get in terms of the meal planning guide. It will be attached to Tuesday email, so you'll get my calorie calculator. I'll even give you the link to the replay, and I'll timestamp it for you all, and I'll give you the guide. It should be attached to that. I've given you like a meal planning guide to go with it. Yes, my app includes maintenance, deficit, calories. It will if you just plug in what you want, anything that you think of about me in terms of like calories, deficit, fiber, protein, anything around that you might think, oh, has he done it to like a high quality, or is it good? Does it include this and that? Yes, I have. I've included everything in there, right? And it's only going to be getting like better and better and better. I'm literally just, all I care about is making the app really good, because if I make the app really good, then you lot are going to be more happier people. Is that people hopefully stay a bit longer. Jill, fire away. Just talk over me.
Hi, sorry, I'm probably being really thick here. I've gone to the link for the books, but I can't see one that says the bundle. Is it
on the checkout? Click on the checkout, you'll see bundle.
So I've got instant download $14.99. I can see that.
Yep. So click on that.
Click on instant download.
Yep. Get to the checkout. You'll see it.
One.
Yep.
Oh, 3 bundle.
Yeah, and put in the discount code as well.
Right.
You'll get another 50 off. All right.
Thank you. That's brilliant. Thanks very much. All
good. All right. Let's see if I can get to a few more questions. This is quite. I'd say Jill would probably confirm. This is quite a light masterclass. Sometimes my masterclasses go on till like 3 hours. Just depends how long people have got. App is 20 quid for anyone who's asking. You get it. What's the impact of not consuming all 9? I think someone asked me this. Talk about protein. In short, honestly, the only thing that really matters, right, is your protein and fiber. I wouldn't make it more complex than that, right? If you are vegan, right, and you get all plant-based stuff and nothing else, I would probably go over your target protein by about 10 or 20 grams. Nothing like too much, right? So don't worry about it. Some generalized questions. Is it better? What's better in terms of like step, pump? What classes are better for weight loss? And a personalized program over a personalized program? Depends. Like if you have a personalized program, the benefit of having something personalized is that someone writes it out for you. You're more likely to stick to it, and it's going to tell you what you actually need rather than like just going in blind. It's like a map. Power training. Yeah, go for it. Who's
Yes, I'm Susan from the
Hi,
United
Susan.
States. Hi, how are you?
Good.
I have one question about the ebook. Is it linked to some of your videos? I'm a very visual person in regards to recipe. So is the ebook has a link to the recipe on the video?
Well, I'm a very visual person, Susan, so I've absolutely got you covered. They are linked with the videos and they are linked with pictures.
Wonderful. Because I love the ones on the app because it's already, I follow you, I'm visual, I go to the kitchen, just do it. If I start to read the recipe one step by one step, I will lose interest. So that's why. Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot.
Another, no worries, Susan. Another thing just to mention is, I suppose half to answer your question, but as a general as well, in the app as well, you also, it is quite a mammoth job to get all my videos in there, but I've actually put as many videos as I can for my recipes. So in my app, I'd love to do like a live demo and stuff, but like I've got like, it's just it's quite
I love it. I love your video ones. I'm serious, and especially the position that everybody's asking you why. I think that's your trademark now. Okay.
Good, excellent, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Good. Now downloading the app. Good. How to eat or track when you travel frequently per year and you're on a holiday in another country. All right, eating out. What I would say with that is, you need to firstly mentally go into meals out, weekends out, holidays away, all of that kind of stuff, right? You need to go into that thinking, I am not going to be able to be perfect. So you have to go into that mindset, right? That's number one. And you might need to accept that that week you are not going to make progress. It's fine, right? Now, what can you do that is actually actionable and practical for you? I would say that if you can eat at breakfast at a high protein meal, that's always like a really easy win. So when you start your day, it's typically a bit easier. As you get later in the day, that's usually where the alcohol kind of comes in, where the yummy foods, the sauces and all that kind of stuff. It's quite easy when you're away to have like eggs, yogurt, lower calorie stuff there. If you can take whey protein with you, then take that. If you're eating out, get familiar with the calories in the menus. So stuff like, what's a really good exercise for all of you is go out and go, okay, let me get familiar that the average fries when you go out, maybe it's different in America because your portion sizes feel like they're a bit bigger, at least in the UK, are about 500 calories. The average sirloin steak is about 400 calories. The average ribeye is about 550 calories, right? The average fillet steak is about 300 calories or something like that, right? And then the one that you don't want, the one that all of you don't want to hear about, which is, the sauce, the mayo aioli sauce that I've got next to me is 300 calories, right? And just knowing all of that, the average pizza is 1,000, etc., etc., etc. You're never going to be able to be like completely perfect, but it will help you make better decisions. Because if you sit there and be like, okay, cool, any white fish or sea bass or cod or hake or haddock, on average, is probably going to get a portion is going to be like 150, 250 calories, maybe something like that. Helps you make better decisions, right? So just think about that. And the same thing with desserts. And usually when you go out, always overestimate, as depressing as that sounds. It will help you be more accurate with your calories. Someone asked about, Jill, can I walk you through the Noura App? I can. I just have to do. I'll have to do it like on the next one because I can't share my screen from my phone. I can only join the call and do it in a really awkward way. So I'll be better prepared for that next time, but I will try to do a demo whilst I am on the next call, if I can, right? People were asking me as well, let's say you've got something here, you can really easily, I don't know if you can see it, you can swap between, let me just pin myself 1 second. You can see, you can swap between like metric and imperial here like really easily. So when you get to my recipes, all of you US folks, you're like, oh, do I swap? Right, you can really easily swap. And in some of the next few updates, we'll be able to like just swap out from this screen here, like individual ingredients and stuff. All I care about is making this app so easy to use. Everything is in there as the core, and then just branching out. And I think in like 6 months or I don't know, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months or whatever, right? It's going to be like really like even better. Like I'm really excited. So yeah. Adam signed up for a 16-week transformation program, local gym. That includes weekly meetings. Do you think your coaching would complement that? Would you recommend waiting until I finish that program? Depends. If you're already doing a training program, we get a lot of people who come to my coaching and they already have a training program in place, and they come to me and the team for like the nutrition, and they want someone to like dial in their macros, give them weekly feedback. Our weekly feedback is not, by the way, like written stuff like, well done, keep it up. I heard some horrible stories of like coaches going, sorry, people working with coaches, and like apparently they would just like their messages. I'm just like, that is just beyond embarrassing. That's like scam, right? We will go through every check-in like with a screen record, and we go over everything, and we literally talk to you, and then you open the message, and then you're like, oh my god, they're talking to us, I better do it. So that's how we like to do everything. We do spend a bit of extra time and kind of go a bit manual, and we that's kind of like how we do things. So yeah, so especially like the nature of my content and the nature of how I do stuff, I'm obviously very big into strength training, but I'm more recipe nutrition focused. So people come to me because of that, and kind of fat loss, so it naturally gears into that. But we have loads of clients who are like triathlete. I've got like a few triathletes that are with me, people who train for like London marathons, all that kind of stuff, and then they have their training in place, and they need someone to be like, right, do this, this, and this, and they need a support network and something every week, and weekly calls and stuff. How long before my books will be in the supermarket? I would say apparently March 2027. So, yeah, that's kind of the date for that. Someone asked if you buy the Noura app at 149, or you buy for the annual, which is that's an annual offer, which basically gives you like 7 months free. So it's 7 months for the price of 12 or something, or you get the cheaper one for 19.99. Will it keep you on there after when the price goes back up? Yes, you are locked in as long as you're on that subscription, right? I can't actually, yeah. So you basically get locked in onto that if you are, if you buy at the cheaper price, you'll always be on the cheaper one. A few more questions, and then I'll. Oh, sorry, I missed that. Sorry, Tumbarakis, I think. Sorry, I missed that. I was just looking on the right hand side of my screen.
Yeah. Hi, Adam.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. It's weird enough, you have the same name with my personal trainer. I'm calling you from Montreal, and I want to comment on the lady who just called you from the US, and she said that she's visual, and I am too. So I was wondering what is better for me, your recipe book or your Noura app, where I can see you more.
Well, I'd tell you what, if you, this is not me saying this. This is, if you want to see more of me, you'll get it more in the Noura app, because I will. You will have the recipes with pictures and videos. We're still pre-populating some of the videos because it's just quite a manual job, but there'll be videos in there for the recipes as well. And I run calls like these inside the app twice a week, and I upload them to be watched on replay. So you can, what I do with my topical talks inside Noura, should have probably mentioned this, is I go over like a topic for say like 5-10 minutes. It could be like how to fit your calories into your protein, questions that you lot have asked me over that week, and then I just open it up to like a Q&A like this. So like mini masterclass. So there's no, you don't want me to spend in like another hour talking every time. So I talk about a topic for 10 minutes and then I answer your questions. And we have a community. Every Monday I put a post out. I'm like, tell me what you're doing this week, and we reply to every single comment. And you'll see Amy in there. She's great. And you'll see Inca in there as well. They do the post and stuff as well. If you want something more visual, do the app, because it's got what the ebooks, has all the ebooks and a lot more, and you should see if you like it, is what I would say.
I'm good so far in counting my protein. Because I'm 69 and I'm very much interested to keep my muscles going on, but I'm not good on counting the fiber. Although I eat a lot of greens and veggies and so on, so that's why I really want to follow you and gain out of your experience. And I love your videos. And I also noticed the corner all the time you come from the corner. And I always wonder why he does that. So now we understand.
Yeah, is that
Yeah.
I am actually you'll see a big change, everyone. I'm sure a lot of you watch my videos and whatever, especially if you're
It's nice though. It's cute.
What? Yeah. What? If you're one of the last 71 people in the room, it means that you're like one of the legends, right? The Adam Hode legends. I'm moving house. All things fingers crossed in like 2 months. So you'll see a whole new kitchen. Obviously, one of the big requisites. I've basically moved a bit further out so I can get like more floor space, but I'll have a whole new kitchen. I'll be really sad to like have that. I'm like,
change.
no one's gonna watch my videos anymore. I'm not leaning over the counter, you know. Yeah, funny.
Yeah. One more thing only. I just retired after 40 years of work, and now I can concentrate more on myself. So I started a year ago going with a personal trainer twice a week, and I do twice a week yoga, and I walk a lot. So I don't know if I'm a little late to keep my muscles going or to build them, or because I'm 69, I'm very close to 70.
Now you can depending on it all depends on your sort of starting point, right? Because if you're like, you have room for improvement, i.e. you're not doing a lot of strength training and you can add stuff in, then by all means you can still build and retain muscle, right? For sure. It's something that, in my opinion, everyone should do as a non-negotiable, even if it's something as basic as like 2 20-minute workouts a week. That will keep you stronger and fitter and healthier than not doing anything at all. But you can still see, as everyone gets older, the only thing that really changes is that your progress just becomes, your ceiling drops a little bit, like your potential, if you can call it that, and your progress is just a bit slower. So as long as you manage those expectations, that when you're 20, you know, like footballers and like 20-year-olds in the gym, they can recover. They break themselves. They do stupid forms, stupid exercises, and then they come back in and they're good to go, right? But as you get older, you just have to be a bit smarter, and you have to just realize that, okay, maybe if I do an intense workout when I was younger, I could recover in 1 or 2 or 3 days. Maybe now I need 3 or 4 or 5 days after an intense workout. So it's just managing those expectations, and sometimes that takes a bit longer, but you should do it. My mum is same age, she's 69, yeah, she does as much as she can. So
yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
Good stuff. What have I missed here? Any other questions? You'll have to set up your new kitchen so you can still lean over the counter. Oh, I will still lean over the counter. I will. I'll make sure I get really close. Some people are like, you get so close to your food as well. I'm like, what do you want to see? You want it to be like a fly in the background, right? I need to get the message across. I'd like to know your perspective and opinion about classic keto diet. Keto diet, for anyone who doesn't know, is basically low carbohydrate diet. It gives you no extra benefit when you equate for calories. The negative, like, you know, if you're eating carbohydrates or you're not eating carbohydrates, if your calories are the same, the results are the same. You just lose a little bit more actual weight sometimes because you're having less carbs. You basically have like a little bit of like a water drop, but it's not fat drop, right? So something to think about there. And actually, an interesting thing about low carb keto diets, right, is that when you are on a ketogenic diet and you are on low carbohydrates, right, you actually burn more fat, but you actually put on more fat.
Not always weight.
Let me just mute that. Sorry. Yeah, when you're on a low carbohydrate diet, you actually put on more fat quicker, but you also burn fat quicker, because fat is actually it's really easy for your body to store fat and then like to use it, sort of thing, right? And that's kind of like your fuel source. So but when you just have carbohydrates, you basically essentially burn fat a little bit slower, and you put on fat a little bit slower. But essentially, the net effect is exactly the same. I wouldn't even worry about it. And the downside to having keto diets a lot of the time, if you take out carbohydrates, which is oftentimes comes from vegetables, you're not getting the fiber benefit. So if you have like steak, eggs, and stuff like that, you better make sure that you're getting in a load of avocados at the same time. What does Noura mean? I almost called it bloom at the beginning, and then I couldn't. And then someone said, "I'm not sure you'll be able to get that trademarked." Noura. I wanted a word that wasn't a word, but was also associated with, what's it called? With like nutrition, if that makes sense. Like Noura, like nutrition, nourishment, something like that. And like I said, a word that wasn't in the dictionary. So I thought that was quite cool. A lot of people always ask me, they're like, "Oh, is it like an Arabic or African thing?" And it might have. I think it probably does have like Arabic connections. I think so, maybe. It's an Arabic name. Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. There you go. So all good. If anyone's asking, is my app going to be a good addition to like track food and to help you alongside like for anything recipes and nutrition, get the app. Like, trust me, the app. I always try to, when I create like an ebook or I create like an app or something like that, my goal is also in my mind, I think, even if someone uses 5 recipes, right, or they use 3 recipes, if they actually use those 3 recipes, or they use the food tracking function and nothing else or whatever, I want them to get like actual value from that, right? So yes. Adam, have you had success with women going through menopause? Yeah, that's literally like my bread and butter. That's what I do in my coaching every day. Every day is everyone's working through those challenges, and nothing. There are hormonal shifts and stuff like that happen through menopause, but oftentimes it makes it more difficult to stick to, rather than like the underlying like principles changing. So like, if you maintain your muscle, if you do your workouts, if you do your steps, if you do X, Y, and Z, and you're going through menopause, you're still going to make progress. You're still going to get all of these benefits. It's just that, like mentally it can affect you in different ways, and it affects you like physically in some different ways. So as long as you can manage that, you should still absolutely do all the most important things. Like I said, everything that I've talked about today is for probably primarily for like over 30s and over 40s going through like menopause and stuff. Build muscle, move more, make my recipes, right? That's essentially that. Adam, trying to see if I can get these 3 of these. Does one sleeping pattern affect their weight loss journey? Great question. Sleeping less, more or less hours sleeping in the afternoon. When you sleep, you need to sleep with a regular pattern. That works. It's very underrated. Your body loves regularity, whether it is meal timing or sleep, etc., etc. You want to make sure that you are trying to do that as regularly as you can. I'm sure we've all been in that situation where if you get 8 hours and you go to bed at 9 a.m. and you wake up at 5 a.m., don't know who has that kind of schedule, let's say 10 and 6, right? And the next day you try to go to bed at 1 a.m. and then you wake up at 9 a.m. to try to get the same like 8 hours, it doesn't quite feel the same. So go to bed at the same time, try to eat at the same time, and ideally try to work out on the same days. Your body loves regularity. It makes like sticking to nutrition and sticking to the whole process in terms of the journey much easier, right? Cool. And obviously 7 to 8 hours sleep. If you don't sleep, your decision making will be worse. Magic, if anyone signed up, I can see a lot of you sign up to the one-to-one coaching. I look forward to seeing you in there. If you chat to me on the first call, great. If you see me on any of the live calls, you'll see me loads on those. And also, I did mention this earlier. Remember, if you're inside the one-to-one coaching, you're also inside Noura, so you'll see extra bits of me and stuff in there as well. So, yeah, I try to show face as much as I can. And, a little saying that I have, right? I'm not saying that I'm the greatest person, right? But I try to make my free stuff better than most people's paid stuff, because I know that most people aren't willing to do a webinar and a masterclass on a Sunday for 2-3 hours and answer people's questions. Honestly, people think I'm a psychopath. They're like, you sit on a call and you talk to people for 2 to 3 hours. I'm like, yeah, it's good fun. It helps people. Dave, how does your Noura app allow us to use a Corsi Smart Kitchen food scales and save in your app? If that sounds like a very specific connection, you can track everything in my app, honestly, as you would in like any other food tracking app. But I also have my added database. You've got voice logging function. You can take pictures and all that kind of stuff. I don't exactly know what the Cosori Smart Kitchen scales are, but it probably not going to connect to it. It won't connect to it as in like as a connection, as a function. So if you just use my actual food logger. Few Bluetooth device. If you, I'll tell you a sneaky way. Bedford's phone. I don't have the first name here. A sneaky way is if you use that link and you save that link that I gave you, you will be able to buy Noura on that link for the cheaper price. But you have to use the link. If you go to the App Store, it can give you like different pricing. Don't buy from the App Store. I'm telling you now. Like I could tell you to go to the App Store. Don't go to the App Store. See if I can find it for you. 1 second. Yeah, just this link here if anyone wants it, and they're like, oh, I want to wait for like 3 days until payday or something. Just use the link that I sent you above. That's the discounted link. Other links, not so discounted. So there we go. All right, I think I'll probably love you and leave you people. Otherwise, I'll probably stay here all night. But always good fun. I'm glad that I got to answer your questions. I think this is probably the longer masterclass. One of the longest ones I've done so far. If you're inside the coaching, I will see you inside. If you're inside Noura, I will see you inside there. I do loads of calls and stuff in there as well. And if not, recipe ebook. And if not there, then I'm sure I'll see you on like one of the next reels. So hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week and have a great next week. Take a few of my points that I've spoken about today, put them into action, right? Try to get more protein, try to get more fiber. Can you get some more steps in? Are there a few tips and tricks that you could put in with your workouts? And you're like, well, you know, I've been putting off workouts for quite a while. Do it, right? Start simple, start easy. All right, team, I will speak to you on the next one. Have a great next week. And I will send all 3 templates, and I'll send out all of the replay. Usually goes out usually go out Tuesday, 7:30 a.m. Okay, even if you've got a random email from me today about like masterclass replay. So I'll send that to you on Sunday. Losing my mind. See you on Tuesday morning. Apart from that, team, I'll catch you all in the next episode. All right, nice one. See you.